Broadnary sub-stop, Philadelphia, PA. Shot so loud you would think it was a club spot. African Americans, although we all over the web, we the hood librarians. We ship to prisons too. We reach out and deliver to those that's bitten too, but it's more than a bookstore. You wonder we got it, mixtapes, DVDs, and culture products. Black and Nobel got our hands in a lot of projects. We welcome all to come build, the energy is positive. And remember, other team is awake and conscious. Come through and experience this place of knowledge. They say they'll put it in a book if they wanna hide it from us, but we got them books so you can buy it from us. Something to read while you on a train or riding the bus. Get your read on, food for thought, get your eat on. Black and Nobel, I buy my books at Black and Nobel. Black and Nobel, I buy my books at Black and Nobel. Black and Nobel, I buy my books at Black and Nobel. Black and Nobel, I buy my books at Black and Nobel. Right off the Broadnary sub-stop, Philadelphia, PA. Shot so loud you would think it was a club spot. African Americans, although we all over the web, we the hood librarians. We ship to prisons too. We reach out and deliver to those that's bitten too, but it's more than a bookstore. You wonder we got it, mixtapes, DVDs, and culture products. Black and Nobel got our hands in a lot of projects. We welcome all to come build, the energy is positive. And remember, other team is awake and conscious. Come through and experience this place of knowledge. They say they'll put it in a book if they wanna hide it from us, but we got them books so you can buy it from us. Something to read while you on a train or riding the bus. Get your read on, food for thought, get your eat on. Black and Nobel, I buy my books at Black and Nobel. Black and Nobel, I buy my books at Black and Nobel. Black and Nobel, I buy my books at Black and Nobel. Black and Nobel.
How's everybody in the back? Everybody in the back hear me? Yeah. Alright, so today's theme is going to be on electronic racism. That's what today's theme is, electronic racism. And those of you that know me know I'm always coming with some kind of title that's thought-provoking. And maybe some people don't even understand where I'm coming from at the very beginning. But you'll definitely understand that our people, our biggest threat, because there's different types of racism that's being employed. Some forms of racism we can't even employ ourselves because of the level that it registers on. Like when you have a public school system teaching information to have our minds super saturated with information about other than ourselves and kind, we're not really in a position to enforce that level of racism. We just not there. We're not creating institutions and training other people's babies from young. So that form of racism we can't be guilty of because we're not even in position to do that. And if we were in position to do so, we may not even do it either. So, hey, how you doing, Shabazz? I was hoping to see you, sis. Yeah, and it's good to see some of y'all out here from when we had the Philly store out here back in the days. So it's good seeing y'all come out. It's real good. I was hoping to see some of y'all out here. I ain't been in Philly in a while. And Philly is the hood. I'm from Brownsville, so I know a hood when I see a hood. Philly definitely is the hood. It's a good thing, man. I'm from the Ville. Because I see some stuff in the last 5 blocks that have me like, yo, bringing me back. I was like, thank God for them tax leads, them tax deeds. I was like, oh, shoot. Yeah, this brought me back. I needed that music, boy. Yeah. I mean, it's fly, and I love it. I love it because these environments make you very creative if you don't fall victim to the conditions. A lot of us fall victim to these conditions and we use it as an excuse to not excel. I always tell people I'm very blessed to have been born minus a mother, minus a father from the age of 8. You know, mom's died age 17. When I was 17, she died the week I met her of diabetes and cancer, and my father, he left us when I was 8. And it was a tough period, and my grandmother was pretty much raising us for a time until she passed. Then I was homeless and I had to try to figure something out, all right, and going to school and School wasn't about school. School was about what clothes you had on, who's going with who's going to beat up somebody, and who you going to beat up. So the combination of all of that, in addition to, I don't know how it is in Philly, but I can imagine it's probably similar. When we had to go to school, we had to put our book bags through something that had a similitude to going to an airport. We had to put our book bags through all sorts of scanners. The scanners can pick up a nickel in your pocket, so we had to take our belts off. And by the time we went through all of this ritual, we pretty much missed our first period class, and we were condemned for missing our first period class. But every time something happened in the white community, the security got heavy in the black community. You know, someone shoots somebody in the white community and we were treated like we were the ones that caught the body. And all of a sudden, now there was intense security, intense metal detectors and things of that nature. And when you have to go through all of that before undergoing the school process, the last thing on your mind is education. You're thinking about self-defense, you're thinking about protection. And then after that, it's a fashion show. And people who don't necessarily have it as good as the people that are fronting who also don't have it, okay, because most people getting their monies from their mother or father or welfare or something, and they just student loan monies and turning it over and buying sneakers instead of the books. It got to me. I would have stayed in school if I didn't feel that pressure. But I dropped out because I wanted to fit in. And the only way I could conceive of fitting in was to drop out of school, get some money hustling, and then show up to the school I dropped out of just so people can see me in my new clothes. And that's where it was at. And staying in lunch periods 2-3 times in a row. Many of us did it just to hang out. Got my new clothes on. I'm there for 3 periods straight. Looking fly. Dumb as hell. Looking fly. You know what I'm saying? And that's what was supported. And the security lets you go in. And people have relationships with the security. I mean, it's hell. It's hell. This public school system is hell. All right, and I try to address those issues with resolve because those are the issues that's plaguing us most in the community, okay? And next to diabetes, foreclosures is the biggest thing that's bothering us in our community. If we either got diabetes or we got a foreclosure, one of the two, a combination of both. That's just as big as a pandemic than any other disease, the foreclosure situation that's going on in our community. So I sat here and I tried to figure out what's my position in the community and how can I contribute to the community. And I find that a lot of times we try to approach the resolve from a 1960 standpoint or a 1970 standpoint or a 1980 standpoint or a 1990 standpoint. We're still living in the past trying to approach the changing of today's situation. And I'm not saying we have to disregard the past, but things change, people change. Okay, even change. Currency changed. And when currency changes, you have to make modifications in your customs and traditions, common customs. But the problem is a lot of us do not have common customs. And that's the biggest problem in our communities. We join a lot of heavy communities. But then when we join, there's no prayer system. There's no language. There's no cultural dish. And these are the things that we watch other people succeeding in society. It just so happens they have a cultural dish. It just so happens they have a cultural dress. It just so happens they have their own language. It just so happens they have their own law. It just so happens everyone identifies their specific status. It just happens to be that way. But when we erect the community or black movement, we're missing all of those things and we're expecting to be successful. And the most we've managed to come out with all these communities with was kill the cracker and kill the white man. And it's clear that that's not going to happen no time soon. Because it would have happened sometime soon already. And we would have been behind bars already. And we'd have been dealing with martial law already. And a lot of us wouldn't be here already if it was true. If we were going to sit here and listen to kill the white man, kill the cracker, it's time to rise. It's time to take this stuff over. Now, how you take what over? Well, I ask people all the time. They say you just trying to get people to read books, buy books and everything. You're afraid to fight this devil. I'm like, how could I be afraid to fight the devil? I was locked up for murder. You never went to prison. You might have went to prison for a weed charge. You didn't even go to prison for a weed charge. You went to the central bookings and you was doodling in front of people with no doors. And then you went to court and they gave you summons and you won. Or you got out of that situation. I'm like, I'm not scared. I've been there. I've been shot. I've been stabbed. I've been sliced. Been Crip Superior in Brownsville. And still say it every day of the week. And I'm still in the public schools letting them know I used to be a Crip Superior, talking to the children. All right? And I'm trying to explain to people, I'm not the one that's afraid. I woke up. Because the people saying that I'm afraid haven't even been shot, stabbed, sliced, or locked up for something very intense. Okay, so there's a lot of things going on behind the wall, as we say, that is not being shared with the community honestly. Like when we listen to the music, they support the sell drugs. They support the shoot somebody lyrics. And I'm like, all right, even if you had a point with selling the drugs and shooting people, why are you not telling us the outcome of what happens when you get caught doing it? Not the, yeah, I was in prison and I came home and I'm back on the block. No, tell the truth. Because I know when I got locked up, I was in for a shock. When I got a visit, I had to take all my clothes off and strip butt-ass naked for someone to visit me. I didn't know that. I never heard it in none of the rap songs that I was listening to. So when I had a visit and they like, yo, strip butt-ass naked, I'm looking at them like, that's not in the music. Like, I've been buying Tupac's albums, I've been buying Biggie shit, I've been buying everybody's. And ain't nobody dropped that shit on me. All those albums I've been buying. I was looking for a refund in prison. I was pissed off. So I'm trying to figure out, why is that part of the hip-hop content omitted? I didn't know. And then you can't help but to feel that this pale man is getting off. As he tells you, spread your legs and cough. As if I'm hiding something up my ass. And this is for real. And this is the side of the story that no one is teaching our children. As they glorify going to prison like you're getting stripes in your community. And it's the most demeaning feeling that you can ever have as a black man. Being yelled at and screamed on by another person of another race. Or yelled at and screamed on by somebody that looks like you, just doing it for someone, performing for another race. And on top of it, telling you to be naked. Telling you to cough. It's the most demeaning thing that you can experience. And I even have to question the people that are in and out of prison to go through that on a day-to-day basis. No, I'm not talking about the regular weed charge. I'm talking about when you're really doing time. When you're around people who are not getting out no time soon. And they find out you're about to get out. And all they have is time on their hands because they're not coming home. And they pick on you or they bother you. And if you get beat up, you still get in trouble for being beat up. If you win, you're still getting in trouble. And now you got to stay there that much longer. And no one tells that side of the story. That you'll be locked up with people who are actually really crazy. You thought you met crazy people. You thought your mans were crazy. You even thought you was crazy after listening to that music, brainwashing yourself, reciting those lyrics, have yourself hypnotized till you get yourself in trouble. You thought you was nuts until you get around the real nuts. You thought you was a devil till you get around real devils. You ain't met real devils yet until you've been in prison. Give yourself a year in prison, and I guarantee you meet some real devils. It put me in check. Because I was the man, and I had my teardrop and everything on my eye going in hard. And my C's up and all that. But the first 6 months in prison, I got a reality check. And I ain't afraid to say it. I wasn't walking around going crazy and dancing all over the place. I kept my fingers right in my pockets. And I had to reassess and reevaluate the whole situation. Because I seen what happened to other people. People in prison get in trouble with each other. Yo, I'm gonna shoot you. And then it registers, there's no gun in prison. Who you gonna shoot when you get into a fight? You have to fight again. Old school is back when you're in prison. There's knives. For some reason, there's knives in prison. Old school is back. There's knives and there's fist fights. And good old-fashioned jumpings. So I realized someone has to start sharing the other side of the story. And also be successful in the process. I mean, amidst of all that, we learned how to make tattoos with ink pens and everything. We learned a lot of clever stuff. Learned how to make our own little wines with the lemon skins, with the orange skins. Learned a lot of stuff. People like crackheads with cigarettes and smoking by the toilet and flushing the toilet so the smoke can be sucked up by the toilet. It's insane. Yeah, I'm bringing some people back. I see them. The days. People going in like, yeah, light is real. I remember that. It's real. It's really real. Right? And that's no way for us to live. And we become complacent with it. You got young brothers right now feeling like they destined to go to prison. Not because they're righteous, but because they know they're going to do something that warrants their imprisonment. Not because they think racism exists, but because they know they're guilty. And they're going to be guilty sometime down the week, or 2 weeks later, or a month later. We don't really know how far this is going. In the real estate or legal fiction dissertation that I did in the book and on the DVD, I made it plain and clear, and I showed you how people that get incarcerated, and for every black man or black woman that gets locked up, they represent an MBS or mortgage-backed security. When you go to court and they have you sign in bonds, bonds are debt obligations. It means you owe somebody money. That means when you go to court, they're suing you. It means it's a commercial pretense in which you're there. That's crazy. Commerce is an issue no matter what you do. You catch a body, you kill someone, push someone with, backstab them, whatever. They're asking you for money. And the money is not even working in the form of restitution where you're compensating the people that you victimized or their families. Because in that light, then we maybe understand that. No, they want money for the situation and no one gets compensated on either end. And they have you signing bid bonds, payment bonds, and performance bonds. And then they consolidate those three forms of debt obligations and it's identified as a mortgage-backed security on the stock market. Because privatized prisons are corporations. And what happens is once you get incarcerated, they make you work for free. Checks are being cut that you never see. And those checks get allocated towards a fund where it's pooled. The money is pooled. It's put into a group controlled by the Corrections Corporation of America. And what they do, your prison number serves them as an account number. And this is used as a mortgage-backed security to be sold on the stock market to replace the obligations that people failed in terms of the mandated foreclosure, the mandated mortgage. This means that when a person has a $80,000 mortgage and they don't pay it, hold on, let's go backwards. You have what they call subprimes. A subprime is someone who's most likely not going to be able to pay you back if they borrow from you. Yet, you still intend to give them the money. That's the first trap. They know, they did the analytics, they seen the community, and they understand if I extend you a $150,000 loan for this property, you're not going to be able to pay it back in 30 years for that fixed rate mortgage, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. You're subprime. So you say, why would someone loan me money if they knew I wouldn't be able to pay it back? Because they have a surety. It's like an insurance company or insurance policy. They have someone else on the other side saying, if that person doesn't pay, we'll pay it for you. But you just got to give us a percentage. Just a small percentage. So if that's the case, if it were you, if you knew, okay, I will loan this person money if someone else would step in and guarantee me if that person doesn't pay me, they'll pay me. Wouldn't you loan anybody money under those conditions? Yeah. Wouldn't you loan people money and in turn get interest back in 30 years? Or if they failed anywhere between first year and 30 years, if you knew someone else was willing to pay the debt back for them who doesn't even know them, they just want a small percentage, but either way you're going to get interest back. Wouldn't you do that? So that's the science. They have sureties. Okay? So people buy these houses and they're selling them to people that they know can't afford it. They're selling houses to people they know can't afford it, called subprimes. People that when they do their analytics, they know you're going to fail inside of 2 to 3 years. And some miscellaneous factors may even demand that you fail in the first year or earlier. So what happens is the bank steps in, okay, and the international bank says, look, we have a surety that can help make this deal. So all we want you to do is service the loans for us, commercial bank. So you say there's a commercial bank, there's an international bank, and who's the surety? The surety is the prison, the Corrections Corporation of America. They're the surety, they're the insurance policy. They're the ones saying, look, if in the event this person's $80,000 mortgage isn't being paid, we'll pay it off for them for a small profit. Where's the prison getting the money from? People who get incarcerated have to work for free in privatized prisons. So now your incarceration represents an unpaid mortgage. And you're likely to lose your house and know you're about to lose your house and commit a damn crime, get locked up for it, and now your time in prison is paying for someone else's mortgage, not even your own. That's how crazy this thing is. It's called mortgage-backed securities. And the principal amount of mortgage-backed securities that are served come from the end result of people being incarcerated by way of privatized prisons. So here it is. Why would you try to find people that can actually go the duration of time to pay a 30-year debt obligation, when you can find some suckers who don't know that they should not even enter into an agreement like that because they can't pay it off? These people get their money back quicker. Instead of the 30 years, they're getting it back in the first year, 2 or 3, because they have a surety, because they can guarantee people are going to be getting in prison this year, tomorrow, next week, and as we speak. And if it takes 3 prisoners, they'll take that money, consolidate their debt obligations, because they signed those bonds before their sentence. They signed those bonds: performance bond, bid bond, and payment bond. These are the bonds our brothers and sisters are signing before they go away for some time. They have no idea. I put how the paperwork and everything looks that the brothers and them are signing when they get incarcerated, so they know better and know what to write to go against that. So we find in this day and time, believe it or not, a lot of the implications of racism is a very, very voluntary action. We've been volunteering our role in subjugation. We volunteer to be the ones subjugated, but don't realize it. And that's on account to our lack of information. And it's on account to the fact that we are not holding our leaders to be more responsible when it comes to what information that they choose to disseminate amongst the listening ear. But we have to hold the people accountable now. We can't hold the teachers accountable because the teachers going wild. Teachers going wild. It's like the women with the titties out. We need to put out some DVDs. Teachers going wild. They saying weird things. Saying weird things these days. And if you cut it all up and put it in a collage, it'd be teachers going wild. Some of the stuff I hear is just insane. One brother in the community said he shitted out an alien. Hey brother, since when has it been cool for a man to even imply he gave birth to anything, let alone an alien? By way of defecation. He thought he straightened on the toilet only to find out he was giving birth to an alien. And he's still doing business to this day. We ain't mad. And another Negro said the taller you are, the more chakras you have. So I'm like, how many chakras does a midget have? Does he just have one chakra? Like, what's the science behind this? It doesn't make no sense. But they live to teach another day. And I ain't gonna say their name. I'm gonna live my life. And I pray they don't bother me, because I'm bothered by what they're saying, because I don't see the productivity in the information. And some others of us, we just want to just rape a whole class session with breaking down how effed up black people are psychologically and give you some 5-syllable words on how effed up we are. And I'm saying, this is getting crazy, man. I ain't come here. You about to put me on drugs again. I don't want to know how messed up I am for another 3, 4, 5 hours. I need some solutions. And the reason why the black man is so crazy and why he's fighting the black woman is because when you put the doll in this hand and this doll in that hand and you take I'm like, yo, come on, fam. Like, I know why I'm effed up. I've been around me for 28 years now. I got 7 years of being effed up almost. I don't need another year. I don't need no more hours and contributions towards my decline. I'm coming here to be uplifted. So I'm never going to waste your time and tell you about a bunch of problems and don't give you no resolve. Because what'll happen is, if people keep having an attentive ear to that type of information and that type of layout, then it's going to encourage the people who also have listening ears to switch up. And now they'll teach more responsibly. So we're not asking them to not teach. We're saying teach more responsibly. Take the people's time serious. People are coming off of work. People are babysitting, or people have paid the babysitter to get here. People paid the gas to get here. People came from out of state. How many of you come from out of state? How many of you don't live in Philadelphia right now?
Wow.
Look at all these people who don't live in Philadelphia right now. And this is the first time I've been in Philly teaching as far as since I've been on the circuit. And it's a powerful thing. People coming out their state to Black and Noble to get this information. So a man or a woman who has that responsibility has to deliver, and I'm going to deliver today. But the essence of everything that I'm saying is we can't have a movement if there's no locomotion. Now I know it's like, duh, motion, movement is all the same thing. That's what we say, but we have a lot of movements that are stagnant. And I'm not here to defame anyone's effort or denounce anyone's effort, because I appreciate any effort that's positive. Any effort that doesn't come in the form of selling drugs or killing somebody, I appreciate the effort, even if I don't appreciate the doctrine. I appreciate the effort. But what I'm saying is we need to study successful people to understand how to become successful. And the problem with us is we're hanging around the unsuccessful people taking advice from them. Like, if you have a relationship and it's not going good, what business do you have giving relationship advice to someone else? That's insane. It just makes no sense. So here it is, your homegirl is discontent with her man. Your other homegirl doesn't even have a man, and men are just in bad standing with her for very good reasons. And now you are trying to keep your relationship going. Why are you taking advice from those two sisters? They're not in a state of success right now. Their advice is compromised. So this is what we're dealing with. When they tell you, kill this cracker, kill this beast, that comes from frustration from not having the money or the resources to make change. So now we got to start talking crazy now. And I understand, okay, cool, kill the cracker, but where's the money coming from? And are we buying the guns from the cracker? Like, there's something weird about the situation. It makes me uncomfortable. Who are we buying the guns from? Who are we going to buy the guns from? And more especially, do we have to work 9 to 5 and double overtime to get the money to buy the guns from white people? Because white people are winning all around the equation then. And people say, well, you talking that crossover Negro stuff. Oh, am I really? What did they do for Brother Trayvon? He got killed, and the only thing the black community can conceive of doing is buying a bunch of hoodies. Hoodies and Skittles. So I know what's going on in this righteous career of mine. If they was to gun me down for being righteous, niggas would look at the kicks and go, oh, time to go out there and buy some $400 phone posits and mourn the death of my brother Polight. Time to give Nike $10 million more in the name of marching. Since when, I mean, think about the direction. This is when you know we're in need of a real community. A real community. Because someone dies in a hoodie, the light bulb doesn't come in the head and say, let's patronize the white man that we say we hate. Let's buy a bunch of hoodies. Let's have a million hoodie march, and we're not the ones sewing up the hoodies. Something's crazy about that. Oh, and Skittles probably threw some stuff. Yo, also, you should buy some Skittles too while you at it. And then Tucker start getting in like, yo, he had an iced tea in his hand too, come think about it. You say, you making light of his death. I said, no, I didn't. They made light of his death. That's not what you do. Oh, and then the rest of us, yo, we gonna put a hit out on that cracker. Inside 24 hours, those Negroes are locked up now. That was intelligent. We gonna go live on TV and say, we gonna put our hit out on that cracker. Oh yeah, real gangster. No one knows you're coming. It's all over the news every day of the week. Real intelligent. Now that cracker can have cracker enemies that kill him, and they'll blame you. Real intelligent. Alright, so this is where we at in the black community. Buy a bunch of hoodies, buy Skittles, buy some Starburst while we at it. Since we buying Skittles, we might as well buy some Starburst. And in addition to that, let's go on TV and tell them we're gonna be there about 8 in the evening to kill them. We're not serious. That's not no movement. And they say, you wanna go to war, right? What do the pros do when they go to war? They have to borrow money. That's why America's in debt right now. They be winning the wars because they borrow the right amount of money. So what gets them approved of the loans? It's called SDRs. That's what helps give the country a credit score. We're going to go over that during the course of this dissertation. The problem is the school curriculum is owned and controlled by the government. And the government, according to Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17, the United States government is a corporation that is registered in a jurisdiction known by the misnomer, Delaware, with an executive branch in New York City. What does all of that mean? That means a corporation is responsible for your curriculum. If a corporation is responsible for your curriculum, this means that they will teach you how to be what? Employees or employers? Employees. If a business runs the school system, a diploma represents the person who understands the most how to work for someone else. Right. If you say, yo, Brother Polight, you're encouraging people to drop out of school. No, I'm not. Then why the hell are you writing 70 books in a year and change and saying you're a 10th grade dropout? I'm saying, how come the people with diplomas aren't writing 70 plus books in a year and change? I'm not encouraging no one to drop out of school. The school system is encouraging us to drop out. I was gangbanging when I was going to school. I started teaching when I dropped out. I was cutting class and not giving in my essays when I was going to school. I wrote 70 books when I dropped out. I can barely pass Spanish class when I was going to school. I speak 7 languages now that I dropped out. Is anyone seeing the pattern develop here? There's something wrong with the school system. And people say, well, brother, you need a degree to be teaching on health. Okay, let's do this. I was cured of diabetes. And this guy over here has a degree that says there's no cure for diabetes. I dropped out of 10th grade. Should that be a waiver to not listen to the guy that's been cured, to listen to the guy who has a degree that says there's no cure? Maybe you need to be the person with gangrene whose foot is about to be chopped off. Do you need a degree? Oh, I know what it was. I've been cured. Now I better go to school and make sure I get a degree that confirms that I wasn't really cured. Like, what's the science behind this? So you shouldn't listen to people that have been cured of diseases, because there's people out there with degrees that say no. Oh, what you doing teaching law, brother? Y'all need to get a degree to do that. We need a degree to teach law. That's interesting. It's called public school, and I'm teaching private law. So we're going to go to public school to learn private law? I know what the school system is doing to people's minds, because they can't keep up with information. It just doesn't make sense. We're talking about private laws, and you're talking about getting degrees from public school to do what? To make the same evaluations that I'm making? It doesn't make sense. I'm not telling you to drop out of school. I'm not telling you to not be C certification in certain areas where you could be accessible to your people. I'm for that. I'm saying don't get confused and get caught up in the hype, because over 80% of the world's richest people barely seen high school, if we want to play statistics. But I'm not encouraging people not to go to school. I'm saying if you go to school, go for something that you can be accessible to, or accessible for in terms of your community. Go there for something that your people can use you for. If need be, get certification for something that your people need you for. If need be. But outside of that, the hype around the whole education system, it doesn't make that much sense. It really doesn't. So I'm saying today we're dealing with the threat of electronic racism. The threat of electronic racism. And that's how we're losing. And I can tell you, we can talk about kill Whitey all we want, and I'm with you, because I feel it in my heart sometimes, because I know my story. And I'm not going to tell you it doesn't resonate in me either. The problem is, after I finish peeling the white man's nails off his hands, killing his babies, I don't see the income coming in to feed my family. And I don't see how that qualifies me to erect a black community. I don't see how it qualifies us. Oh yeah, yes, we know how to punch, stab, kill, and shoot white people. That doesn't mean we know how to grow our food, and it doesn't mean that we know our own government or we can execute our own government. So maybe we need to do those things first before we start going to war. Maybe we need to figure out how to make money from no money. Instead of trying to keep saving the money, there's ways that you can create it from out of thin air. But of course we don't learn economics. The closest thing we got to economics in school is home ec. And it used to be called home economics. But now they don't teach you nothing economical in home ec. They just tell you buy tomatoes and cheese and milk and call it rap. They don't teach you economics. They don't teach you money management. No one teaches these things. I get called a liar when I tell people, listen, you can buy houses without a mortgage. Someone told me only God can do things like that. It's like, I must be your God. This is true. Only God can do that. Only God can do that. That is not true. So I'm like, you know what? We've been living so downtrodden for so long. When someone comes with progressive information, you kind of want all that UFO information. You kind of want all of that intangible information that you can't touch. And I ain't knocking UFO information. I'm into it too. I love it. However, I'm not going to saturate my time and thinking with Yaku, two big brain stories and all that other stuff, and white people being grabbed out of black people and can't feed my children. It's an insult to the women in my household, and to the children in my household, if they see me there studying religiously information, they're expecting me to come out of that book and be empowered with some knowledge to take care of my family. And when they ask how come I can't pay the rent, and I tell them the black man is God, the woman is the earth, and we cream of the universe, and she's like, nigga, go get a job. Stop playing around. You want to keep calling us devils up in here because we want to get some money. Cut it out. Using religion to your advantage to stay broke. And people say, oh, you can't go to heaven with all that material stuff, but yes, that doesn't mean you shouldn't leave material things for your family and if something happens to you. You can't take the materials to heaven, right? But we still should leave a house here so our children won't have to try to get a house. That's one less thing they'll have to get. So our children won't have to necessarily get a job. They can walk into the family business. That's one less problem they'll have in society. It's called inherited wealth. There's nothing wrong with teaching that information. Because if we walked into inherited wealth, we probably wouldn't be here. We'd probably be doing some dissertations and uplifting some more people out there. And our children wouldn't be so out of whack. They wouldn't be so distracted trying to survive or compete with each other. This is the information that we needed a long time ago. We've been given a lot of information that makes us argue with each other left and right. A lot of information, and that's why I know it ain't no good. I hate to admit it, but it's true. A lot of what we've been learning just keeps us in a state of fighting. Don't we say we should agree to disagree? How you going to agree to disagree? Who's teaching this crazy information? If we agree to disagree, we're going to keep disagreeing all the time. We need to agree to agree. How many of you like poverty in here? Do we agree that poverty sucks? Some of us like poverty in here? So you see, we agree to agree. We can all meet on that level. Beyond the Jesus, the Allah, the God, and everything else, we can all agree that we don't like poverty. So that's where the common unity comes in. That's where the community comes in. You know what? We're going to put all the other stuff to the side, because all of us agree we do need to get our financial stuff straight. It is messing me up. I can't meditate straight when I know I got to go to work in another hour. Oh, I know you all. You one of those. This Philly too. So I see y'all going in, throwing your rugs on the floor, dirty ass street, and praying to Allah. Allah should smack shit out of you and go to heaven. That's crazy. When you do it on cement, there's gum on the floor, and you going in like you really gonna get props. Come on, man. You love God, get you a temple where it's clean and people gotta take their shoes off. That's what it says in the scriptures. People took their damn shoes off and went to pray. They ain't stay on the Philadelphia streets and put their rug over gum and spit. Got the mark of prostration, that's gum on your head. You gotta stop fronting, man. This don't make no sense. No sense. Now, I ain't saying it to bother nobody, I'm just talking things that's for real, man. We gotta stop this foolishness. So you want to still observe the Sabbath on Saturdays because you're a Hebrew. Why are you taking Saturday off? You broke. You need to work 7 days a week. Why are you taking Saturday off? God will understand. You need the money. What's wrong with you? Your children are starving there. They're not trying to hear, oh, you want to fast for 30 days? Nigga, we've been fasting since you came in our life. Now we got to do another 30 days? We should do the reverse when Ramadan come around and try eating for a change. We've been fasting the whole year. It's not fair to the children. You can be religious all you want, but it's not fair to the children. You're turning them into criminals. Because you know what's going to happen? They're not going to have no faith when they get older. They're going to see spirituality as BS. They're going to see it as a scapegoat to be poor. That's what they're going to see. And they're tired of feeling guilty for wanting more out of life. They're tired of being told they're too materialistic. They're tired of being told Jay-Z and 50 Cent are devil worshippers and that's why they got so much money. And all of God's children are broke because God is going to give them a promise after this life. They're tired of that. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. Oh, we poor righteous teachers. The Egyptians died with gold galore. What do you mean we poor righteous teachers? Let's say someone stole our gold, but let's not start confiding in reality, life without gold. That's not us. We were born in a place in the world that had in abundance every inorganic and organic commodity that was necessary for life. And when you're born around nothing but gold and silver and things of that nature, the only thing you can really value at that point is life itself because there's no temptation there. So people say, I'm spiritual. You're spiritual because you broke. You're spiritual by default. What you need is some temptation in your life. You need some money in your life. Let's see if we put some money in your hand, nigga, if you're going to wind up in a strip club or you still going to take care of your family. People, nah, I don't do stuff like that. I'm religious. No, you're only religious because you're poor. Let's get some, this is true. A lot of us are only religious because we're poor. Put temptation in their hand called money, and that's when spirituality begins. Many of us don't know. Spirituality begins when you're successful. Because, hey, look, I'll tell you what, I got a community now, and I got money. So if a nigga bother me, when someone pushes me on the floor, slanders me, my spirituality kicks in because I know I got the money to lay that nigga down. I can pay him to get killed. I also got people in the community that say, you know what, I ain't too good at studying, but you know, I can lay a nigga down for you. So now, spirituality starts kicking in. So when someone bothers me, spirituality registers. Now there's a reason for a conscience. There's a reason. When you're successful and you got money, then you can turn around and say, oh, I don't have to be around my wives and children. They can tell you they never miss me a day out the whole year. Is that right? My family see me everywhere, and y'all see them everywhere I go. And I don't go nowhere without my family, and I enjoy it. I don't even have a phone. My wives have the phones. I don't even have a phone. I'm not over here sneaking, and I got the money to sneak. I got the money to sneak, but I didn't grow up with a family, so I want to appreciate this while I have it. Because life ain't always promised, and the same life ain't always promised every day. I want to appreciate this. I didn't grow up with a family. So I love this every day that I have it, and I want people to also love it too. Because it's a shame that you have brothers who spend more money on their mistress than they spend on their wife, who's waiting at home for them every day, just want to go out once a year, and can't even get that. The mistress get it all, you know. You know why? Because the nigga can't stay with her all the time. So he has to go in when he's with her. He has to buy her the hotel, give her a real nice suite, take her to Red Lobster, take her to the movies. He has to do all of that in one day because he got to go back home to his wife. But his wife is sitting there and she don't get nothing. And he want to know why she got this attitude too. He mad too at her attitude. He mad. It's not right. But you know what? When you get some money, then you find out if you're really spiritual. So we need it. I say get as much of it as you can and see how you take when you got it. See if you wind up in a strip club. See if you start trying to manipulate people with it. That's where spirituality registers. If you had the opportunity to be wicked, would you? So stop this stuff. You see me, I don't get into trouble. That's because you don't do nothing. And people always getting in trouble. I don't be getting into problems with people because you don't teach. You don't do nothing. You don't do nothing. No one even knows you exist. That's why you don't get into problems. It's true. It's time for change. So we're going to make a change in our community. We have to be serious and approach it from a practical level. The power that I need is when people see us walking down a block, they understand that's that group of people again. Leave them alone because the implication of bothering them will put me in a state of subjugation, will ostracize me, will displace me in society. Not because they're going to kill me, but because their status alone warrants that behavior. If a brother was out here and he saw a pale Jew with the twisties in his hair, and he saw a black man or woman walking down the block and he had to choose who he's going to rob, he couldn't rob that pale Jew because his status, the implication of his religious status, he knows he'll get far less time and implication if he bothers the black man who doesn't have a registered status. If a black man sees the homosexual that he doesn't like, and he sees a black man or woman over here walking down the same street, and he has to decide, who am I going to follow home to steal from them? He's going to leave the homosexual alone. 9.5 times out of 10 because his sexual status, his sexual preference, the implications can in turn have him identified as someone that's guilty of a hate crime. He'd rather rob the black man or the black woman because they're a black man or black woman, and there's no status behind that. There's no implication for bothering a black man or a black woman. There's no protection for that. And that's our problem. So we can march. Oh, they just killed Trayvon. What community was Trayvon part of? The black community. Hold on. That doesn't even exist. I beg to differ. The black community is a white community populated by black people. That's what it is. Because I say this all the time. If you go to a white community, what do you find? White people run the fire department. White people run the police department. White people run the school system. White people produce the food. White people sell you the food. White people extend you the loans. White people give you the mortgages. White people own your building. White people's the one who give you the lease. So let's go into the black community. White people sell you the food. White people grow you the food. White people run the fire department. White people run the police department. White people run the school system. White people run the hospitals. White people give you the jobs. White people are the ones that extend you the mortgages. White people are the ones that extend you the lease. White people are the ones that give you the opportunity to rent. So how could this be a black community? It's a white community populated by black people. Because let's take back our community. Take what? The building's already owned. What the hell are you going to take? You can't take it. It's owned already. Oh, you niggas study that law and you get scared. No, listen. Wouldn't it be wiser to buy our own land and start building from scratch? Then we can create a black community and we can say we don't want certain people living here who want to live a certain way. That's what the Mormons did. They went to Utah. Now they're 90% of Utah. That's what you do when you want to have your own community. You don't try to make a way in someone else's community. The devil is here. Your own people gonna work against you as you try. The only reason we need places like this is to draft pick the righteous. Got treated like the NBA draft. So if I hear you dropping knowledge, you sharp. That's like behind the back pass. You LeBron James constant. We need to draft pick you and bring you over to our team over here. That's what these mediums are here for. These mediums are not here to take over the white community that black people populate. These mediums are here so we can find the righteous amongst our community and come up with a game plan that registers with us in consciousness. And after we make that evaluation and we can definitively conclude what is right for us and what is wrong for us, then we can go elsewhere with the information. But we're not supposed to stay grounded and keep studying year after year after year. That's not the game plan. And now someone has to come with a game plan, because you can clearly see it's just going to be a lecture thing until we die and shit get harder. It's time for us to have our own land again, have our own culture, have our own language. It's time again. And people that say they gangster and kill this one and kill that one, this is the most gangster thing you can ever hear about. It's the most gangster thing you can ever hear about. So when Trayvon gets killed, he's getting killed in someone else's community. Imagine a community where we own the hospital, we own the schools, okay? We own the fire department, we own the police department. And in fact, just imagine a community where we just own all the buildings, even if it's just 20. Guess what happens? White people don't walk up and down the community. When Dr. York had Tamaray, white people wasn't walking up and down the land any time of night. White people on the outside looking in like, yo, what the hell are they doing over there? Yo, go check. I ain't checking that shit. That was the problem. So there's no Trayvon Martins on Tamaray. Just can't happen. You see, yo, but they took the land though. The devil took the land. Yeah, because we had to learn. There's a lot of books out about Dr. York's case and how he's innocent. There's no books out about Tamaray, the land that Nuwapians had. You know why? Because Nuwapians himself didn't know who owned the land, who was in control of the land. They didn't protect the land. They didn't know about a private irrevocable trust. They didn't know about none of this. We wasn't that astute in how to protect our land. Until this day, many people don't even know who owned the damn land in the first place and what protection was it under, if any. Because to this day, we don't know how to buy the house, sign the contract, and protect the asset. That's why I wrote the book called Buy the House, Sign the Contract, Protect the Asset. But you don't have the right. You don't have a degree in that. Nigga, I got over 8 houses. Like, what degree do I need? You got one foreclosure you dealing with right now. I got 8 houses and done sold several of them. My last house I made $80,000 off of, selling it. No ounce of crack can compete with that. Why are we still selling drugs? And I bought the house with less than $3,000 and got back $80,000, and the house was a fair market value of over $170,000. I sold it for a crackhead price, less than 50% below its fair market value, just because I know it was sell. And I won't be implicated when I sign these contracts no more, because I know how to sign the contract. And when I purchase the property, I know how to protect the asset. That's what we're supposed to do. This was our way of living. When you think of ancient Egypt or the Moors in Spain, you don't think about real estate, but that's what we should have been thinking about, because pyramids is real estate. Who the hell built it, and how come it wasn't being foreclosed on? Nobody was running up in there foreclosing on the pyramids. We knew what we was doing. Don't think they didn't have contract law then. Our word was always bond, and that bond had to be ascertained and committed to by way of the instrument or a piece of paper that identified that agreement or that mutual covenant. And if you've seen the Moors in Spain and castles and you knew that we built it, that's real estate. They just didn't build it and hope no one took it. They made it clear how they purchased it. So all the people talking about sovereignty, how could you teach us sovereignty and don't teach us real estate? How can you be sovereign? Sovereign means you're a king. A king rules land. A king don't have mortgage on his land. A king is not paying off any debt for 30 years on his land and calling it his kingdom. Just imagine you die, you go into God's kingdom and find out, yeah, shit is bad, you know, you came in 2012, niggas is foreclosing on this shit, you know what I mean? God ain't gonna have it for so long. Just imagine the insanity behind that. Foreclosing on God's kingdom. The pearly gates start being taken down, repo man start coming, taking away the angels, chariots and shit. Everything's crazy. And you like, damn, I had to die around this time. Niggas in the 80s was living in heaven. We can't be living our life like that. We can have God's kingdom on earth. And hey, if it doesn't work out there, at least you did it up on planet Earth. Stop trying to be slick and sneak your way into heaven. It may not be exactly what you thought it was going to be. It means, oh, that you're an atheist. No, that's not what I am. I want you to think. If it says in the book of Revelation, chapter 12, verses 1 to 8, that there was a war in the heavens, the devil waged war and got a third of God's congregation to conform to his ideology. Hold on, you're going to say 1/3 of God's kingdom turned against God and his own kingdom? And they had war? You mean to tell me I couldn't wait to get away from earth because of all the Osama bin Laden talk? And all the stuff was going on in Afghanistan and Iraq? And now I die and God is trying to draft me into a war? Like, yo, how old did you die? Oh, I died around 25. Oh, well, everybody that died 30 years and under, you got to get down. The devil's acting crazy again. Just imagine that. So who keeps selling us these stories that heaven is peach? When we read the scriptures and we find there's wars going on up there. You're not going to get away. You're not just going to die and be able to live free. It's not true. Stop letting people sell you that craziness. You got to bust your gun in heaven too. When things get out of control, niggas is shooting up there too. Probably from slavery too, because the angels wear white robes. If they wear white robes and they made of cotton, niggas might be picking cotton up there too for all we know. If the devil's ruling, it might be going down. We gotta be realistic. We can't wait to die so I can get free stuff in the afterlife. That's a weird way of thinking. And that's the reason why a lot of us aren't doing nothing now. It's 2012. Now, when 2012 don't go down, some Negro gonna come to you. You know, it's really 2015 is when it's supposed to go down. 2015 is really 2012. They won't stop doing this to us because it keeps us incapacitated in fear. So there's no need to work hard. I got people all the time, everything's gonna get washed away anyway. The water's just gonna go all over the planet Earth. So I'm like, nigga, why don't you kill yourself now if you feel like that then? It's coming, why don't you kill yourself now? Get out of here if I kill you. Like, this is crazy. This is nuts. People want to tell you don't do nothing because everyone's going to die. So why are you still here? You trying to trick me? You don't look like you killing yourself no time soon. You still going to work. So why are you trying to press upon my mind the world's going to end in a few months? Like your man that say it's going to end every year, the white man that they keep listening to. Every year on the 21st of May or some stuff, he says the world's going to go down. Then he said, oh, I made a misevaluation. And he gives out millions of flyers and convince people just off of flyers alone that it's going to end. And don't nobody get mad at him because we want that. We want to know Jesus is going to come and everything's going to change. We want to know that 2012 is coming and consciousness is going to come down and crackheads are just going to be able to evaluate arithmetic. That's super deep. That's what we want to believe. You waiting for it. December 21st, everybody that's a cokehead is going to be dropping some centennial calculus. You waiting for it. And it's not going to happen. You're going to be depressed and you're going to get on drugs if it don't go down on 2012. You're going to be the next one on drugs. Because it's a big hit. When you're waiting for it to go down, and then the next lecturer comes out and says, no, it's going to be in 2046. That's really 2012. And he going to say some slick shit that had me fooled too. I'm like, damn, I got to turn this shit up. Nigga deep. Nigga even confuse me. They good. I ain't tell you they ain't good. They good. A couple of them got me already. They good. So the real one that we have to be careful of, right, is electronic racism. Electronic racism is what we got to be careful of. That's what's going on. And the way we're going to get our freedom is through true sovereignty and through ownership. People can't be in debt and try to be free in this society. It's just not true. Go ahead, baby. So the dissertation is highlighting these two books, particularly Can You Outthink Your Oppressor? Learn to Play Chess Off the Board, and Buy the House, Sign the Contract, Protect the Asset, No Mortgage, No Protest, No Jurisdiction. And of course our website, newcovenantplus.com, www.nu-covenantplus.com. Let's go to the next one. All right, and it's also, we taking data out of pennies off of millionaires. There's a lot of credit information is in the book, so I'm not going to go super saturate today's dissertation on it because I already did a lecture on pennies off of millionaires, or a presentation on it. Pennies off of millionaires and houses are the new credit cards by Nasu Amunre Sen Atumbre, and you can get it from 2012stores.com or newcovenantplus.com. Go ahead. All right, and let's get it started. Not going to keep you here long. Federal Reserve Bank of Boston. According to the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston, this is their QAU publication. Credit card redlining. Let's go here. This paper evaluates the presence of racial disparities in the issuance of consumer credit, using a unique and proprietary database of credit histories from a major credit bureau. This paper links location-based information on race with individual credit files. After controlling for the influence of such other place-specific factors as crime, housing vacancy rates, and general population demographics, the paper finds qualitatively large differences in the amount of credit offered to similarly qualified applicants living in black versus white areas. An instrumental variables approach allows the paper to distinguish between issuer-provided credit supply and utilization of credit demand, where instruments for demand are derived from social theory, Veblen, example, keeping up with the Joneses. The results suggest that the observed differences in credit lines by racial composition of neighborhood are largely driven by issuer decisions rather than by demand. That's the abstract. Go ahead, baby. That's the abstract. This paper evaluates the presence of racial disparities in the supply of revolving consumer credit. Disparities in access to such consumer credit as credit cards are critical to accesses because this form of credit is generally the first form of credit accessed by consumers. In order to qualify for a mortgage, one typically has to build a credit history. In order to qualify for a mortgage, and let's home in on that word mortgage, mort in French means death, engage means agreement. So a mortgage is an agreement until you die. There's no intention for you to really pay it in one lifetime. You should be committing yourself to this agreement until you die. Mortgage, okay, like a mortuary. And that's what your house becomes. Mortgage. One typically has to build a credit history. This marks a significant change that has taken place over the past few decades. In the 1960s, borrowing was predominantly related to home purchases. However, households now have more access to personal loans, auto loans, educational loans, and significantly credit cards. Building credit involves using one or more of these products to incur debt. That's a key part. This is according to the Federal Reserve, people responsible for making money. This is according to the Federal Reserve, okay, of Boston. Building credit involves using one or more of these products to incur debt and successfully repay it. So the name of this system that they created is you cannot be successful unless you have debt. This is the system that they created, but you have to volunteer yourself. You have to volunteer to this. And once you get in it, it's very hard to get out of it. I.e., student loan. You want an education, you want a real good education, you got to come with $80,000, $100,000. Yo, we'll give it to you too. We give you the loan. We know that you don't have the money, but we know with this education, you'll be able to get that money once you get this education. Things will work out. They never tell you that the job exactly is definitely going to be able to pay that $80,000 off. They never tell you the amount of years that you'll be able to pay those, pay that debt off. They just tell you, if you get this education, we know without a doubt that you'll be able to pay that $80,000 loan off. You definitely want to go to school. Oh, now you're in school, you got the confidence that you should be able to get a house. You know why? Because I'm in school. The school's going to help everything out for whatever reason. I don't have facts, but I just know I'm in school, so it works. So you get the house. And now you have $150,000 debt for a house. $80,000 debt for the student loan. And probably got a car. Why not? Just throw the car note up in there and you owe like $10,000, $15,000 for a car note. And this is the American way. This is called debt wealth. We've learned to confide in debt wealth more than we confide in asset wealth. In order for you to have an asset, you have to actually own it. Poverty is based on the pretense of non-ownership. This means a lot of people think they don't live in poverty. But you do if everything you own, or most of what you own, or the most expensive things that you own after you do your net worth, when your liabilities exceed the potentiality and the relevancy of what you have left saved that you can spend. So if you have just $95,000 left on your mortgage and you only have $8,000 saved in your account, you live in poverty. Because poverty is built on the pretense, according to law, is engendered around the principle of ownership and your net worth being in favor of something positive, positive asset value. Never a negative asset value, always a positive asset value. All right? So if you have a mortgage, you got a nice house, you got a nice car, but you don't own the car because you're paying a note, and you don't own the house because you're paying for the mortgage note, then according to law and by standard, you live in poverty, even if it appears you own. It's interesting how they say, very interesting how they say when you close on a deal that you're a homeowner, but your paperwork says debtor or borrower. But verbally, they call you an owner. And you get this pride, and you start speaking with conviction. But you own the house, but the second people dislike you or don't like something you're doing there, they take it. But it's yours. It's you're babysitting the property until you pay it back. And as they will have it, they'll give you a fixed rate mortgage, so you won't be able to pay it back until 30 years. And by that time, when you multiply that price value probably by 2 or 3 or 2.5, there'd be no way you can even pay that because superinflation is taking place and the economy is on a steady decline. And how the heck would you be able to pay for that 5 years from now? For us to make an investment on something like a house, $50,000, $60,000, $100,000, $200,000, we need to really sit down there with someone who knows better to evaluate where currency is going to be 2 years from now, 5 years from now, then 10 years from now, and 15 and 20 and 25 and 30 if need be. But you'll probably stop by 5 and 10. Once you see what's going to be going on 5, 10 years from now with currency, it would suffice for you not to engage in that type of agreement because things will only get harder and you don't have no rationale to really believe that things are going to become easier for you financially. We need to really project, and we don't know how to project. We need qualified people that can help us make that projection, but they don't really train people to teach us how to make those projections. This is the information you've got to be self-educated on and find it. Really, because if they teach people how to make that projection, then people won't go into the agreements. And that's the whole reason why they took over school in the first place. So they can control the curriculum and make you think your way into these situations. Volunteer yourself. So say, oh yeah, racism exists. But it's institutionalized. We're going to educate you, and then after that, you're going to do our building. You're going to do our bidding even when we're not there. You're going to think just like we want you to think. You're going to fully execute our plan to further your impoverished state. You can't help yourself. You've only been learning from us for 15 years or more. So we have to be careful because it says these products to incur debt and successfully repay it. That's the marketed system. Debt wealth, not asset wealth. Let's go to the next one, baby. So here's a graph, available credit versus credit score. What is redlining? Because that's the first thing that we learned. Well, one thing that we learned about redlining is it's illegal for them to ask what your race is on a credit application. So what they do is narrow their statistics down or their analytics down to the zip code. They break it down to the zip code. And they find out what zip codes are predominantly black. And they turn you down for credit even when your score is better than someone of another race. because someone of another race lives in a more criteria sound zip code than you do. Another zip code meets their criteria. But you can't call it racism because they can't ask you your race. But no one ever told them that you can't identify who qualifies for credit by way of their zip code. So what they do is draw a red line through the map. And if you on that red line, you can have a 700 credit score, wouldn't matter. Some Caucasoid with a 650 that lives in a better zip code is going to be approved without them seeing the race. So one of the things that we have to do around that is get registered mailing addresses, or even simply P.O. box addresses that don't correspond with residential homes that are in areas that have been redlined. These are things that we teach in the New Covenant. Because if you think you don't need credit, don't lie to yourself. And if you think your credit is shot, don't worry about it. We discharge debt privately, and we diffuse debt publicly. Don't worry about it. And I gave like a free 3.5-hour class yesterday online. Anybody was online yesterday for the free class? Hey, what's up? What's your name, bro? Jay? How was the class for you? It was good. Good information. Appreciate it, man. Who else was on that free online class? There we go. See, it's powerful. I don't know who was on there. That's what I'm asking. That's good. Raise your hand again if you was on the online class. Free online class for like 3 hours and change, right? And was I giving it up? Answering every question, right? Great detail. Okay, and those are the free classes. And when you put all the stuff together between the books and curriculum, that's what we need. In the community, we need a curriculum. Like, oh, book after book after book. We need a curriculum with applicable information. That's a key word too. Applicable. We need applicable information. Information you can use. Information you can use. All right? So when we don't have that, that's when we wind up into problems. That's when we wind up with problems. All right? We need applicable information. Information that we can use to put gas in our car. But what we don't realize is it is better to leave that you owe money on your credit report than it is to say that you paid for something. They take off more points on your credit score for it being written that you paid for your debt. What you have to do is say, I'm going to pay it only under pretense if you erase it off my history. If you have it erased off your history, your credit score goes up. But if you have paid on your history, your credit score goes down, and it would have stayed in a better place if you just left the debt there rather than make it say paid. These are things they don't teach us. No one knows about credit. Really. I check my joint every 3 to 4 weeks. Every 3 to 4 weeks, I check my credit. Every 3 to 4 weeks. Because you know what? 9 out of every 10 credit reports are wrong. They have misinformation in it. 9 out of every 10. You know why? Because 9 out of every 10 people don't check their credit report. So until they do, that's going to stay the statistic. So a lot of us think we can't get out of bad credit. Challenge it. I bet you see all sorts of things. Read that book and challenge. Credit score going to go up. You need that. You need to be able to walk into a situation and just have property thrown to you so you can do bigger and better things. And know what to do with the property and turn the property into a credit card, which is what I teach about. Get a home equity line of credit, a HELOC. Do you know if your property is worth $180,000 and you buy it, read the tax lien tax deed book, you could buy property for as low as $800, $900, $1,200, $1,500. That's worth $200,000 with no mortgage. Now, that's not even the biggest thing. And you could buy it with the worst credit on planet Earth. But that's not the biggest thing. Once you get it, pull out a HELOC. They'll give you a credit card that is almost equal to the fair market value of the house. So if you got a $200,000 house that, lucky for you, you knew about the tax deed, so you was able to buy that $200,000 house for like $2,000, $2,500 or something like that. So here it is, you got a $200,000 house that you purchased for $2,000 with no mortgage. That wasn't just the flyers thing, but you also know how to invest your money. So now, instead of being disapproved or ignored by credit card companies that only want to give you, for starters, a $500 spending limit, that's what? Get you a house for $2,000 and get you a $200,000 credit limit that is equal to the fair market value of your house. This is what people are doing. It's electric. It's electrical money. That's all it is. And we over here trying to save pennies to eventually buy a house. We're not really figuring this thing out. We got to manipulate the currency. This is why we losing here, because we still messing with the 4% doctrine. Only 4% of money is actually paper. The other 96% is energy, it's electricity. So we got to start confiding in the electrical aspect of money. That's what we have to start doing. Let's go to the next slide. White man's world, he created something called a legal fiction, which I just discussed, also known as a person, or a corporate fiction, or a straw man. But I'm a homie of the word legal fiction, because that's what he calls it. And I love that, because that shows you the mindset that we're dealing with, a legal fiction. So one deals with reality and one deals with unreality or irreality. So he created a legal fiction, and his business can be identified as an actual being, minus a physical body. But because energy is being put into it, and revenue is being generated as an end result, the output, they attest that this is an actual being. So when someone asks, is our private agreement somewhere where it can be located? This is why in the lessons we let you know that our private agreement does not have an algorithm of movement. It's not alive. We're not playing pretend. We're not pretending that our agreement is breathing. Our agreement is our agreement. Living people made the agreement. The agreement is not alive. The people that made the agreement are alive. Alright? If we say that our trust has a locale or a situs, what happened is flesh and veins. We know the people who made the agreement have that. So that's why when asking our lessons, so we know how to approach the situation, not because we anticipate an attack, but also so we understand the nature of what we're doing. Because when people don't understand what they're doing or what they get into, that's where all the mistakes come in. So a lot of people join communities, get paperwork done and things of that nature, and no one tells them how to do it themselves, so they're at loss. And even in like America, for instance, people are citizens, but they don't know nothing about the politics. And when the people are part of a community, and the people don't understand their own government and their own politics, they're vulnerable and susceptible to being exploited by the very community that they stand for and represent, because of the non-disclosure. So when a person asks, where is our trust? We say our trust has no algorithm of movement, thus it has no physical computation, hence is not locked into a jurisdiction, and is protected by Article 1, Section 10 of the United States Constitution. Let you know that they can't come in between a private agreement amongst two parties and tell them what they can do amidst of their agreement. It's illegal. But you have to do it privately the right way. And the way we go about doing it privately is by establishing the settler, the one who's the founder of the trust or the agreement, we call the settler. The settler gives over all assets to the trustee. The trustee's job and sole purpose is to see to it that there is never a negative asset value, meaning that no property ever can have a lien on it. Every property can remain in its fullest potential and likeliness to be able to sell back for the same price or even more. The trustee's responsibility is to manage all the property. To manage it. The settler is the one who's the founder, and the trustee is the one that the settler trusts and turns over the assets to, and they make an agreement that, you know what, I'll manage all the property for you, and I'll see to it that it never has a lien on it. How do they go about doing that? This is where the trust gets not more complicated, but more savvy, understanding business. The two people that come into agreement, so take yourself for instance. You have websites, books, CDs, DVDs, and a house, and a car. And you say, you know what, I want to protect my asset. I want to make sure no one can take my property from me and just snatch it. So you say, I'm going to set up a trust, but not just any trust. I'm going to set up a irrevocable private trust, because I know it's protected by Article 1, Section 10 of the United States Constitution. So you say, Brother Polight, help me out with this. What do we do next? So I say, find someone that you entrust, that you're willing to manage the assets, but they're not really going to be controlling your house and your car. This is technical terminology. And this person is called your trustee, the person you entrusted with the responsibility. So you're the settler, you have all this property, but you want to protect it. And you find somebody, you say, okay, boom, you're going to be the trustee. So we got the settler and we got the trustee. We got the incentive and we got the cause. Boom, we put you together, and what you're going to do for her to qualify this as a private agreement, you're going to establish a lien on her legal fiction. Her name, that's in all caps. You're going to establish a lien, and she's going to willingly say that I owe you $10 million as a secure party creditor, because you're going to do it, you're going to file a UCC-1 statement in secure party fashion. She, in turn, is going to turn around and do the same thing to you, and you willingly are going to say, I owe you $10 million too. In secure party fashion, she's going to be the creditor now. You're the creditor in one instance, she owes you, and vice versa. She's the creditor and you owe her. This will solidify and punctuate your agreement and make it official as a private agreement. How? Because as a secure party creditor, if you do establish the lien in secure party creditor fashion, all other creditors have to be put on notice to know that no one else can take anything that belongs to her or anything that belongs to you, vice versa, until that debt situation is remedied. That's how creditor business works. In all law, for instance, if I'm a credit card company and I give you this credit card and I say it's worth, and you use $3,000 for this credit card, right? And guess what? You also, after you owe me, you wind up using that credit card still, and you bought some food for like $100, and now you owe them $100. According to the creditor presumption, she cannot make a claim that supersedes my claim, because I already made it clear that I have the highest priority claim. I have the first right of rescission. So you have to pay me first before any other creditors can be paid. This is how it works all the time. No one else can turn around and say, no, you owe me that back first. Nope, it doesn't work like that. Before anyone else can get anything, I have to get it first. This is in secure party fashion, the same thing resonates. It's the same qualification. Why are you establishing a lien on her legal fiction, which is considered a property, her name in all caps, for $10 million, and why is she doing that to you, $10 million in the name of this private agreement? Well, inside this private agreement, you reassigned all your website, your books, your DVDs, your house, your car, and all your other materials to this agreement. And now, you just put all creditors on notice. Can't no one take none of this stuff because I got to pay her back. And can't no one take anything she owes because she has to pay me back. And this is the only equity that we have, and it's under this trust. And in the event I'm in debt to anybody, it has to go to this person immediately first. Unless you have a debt that supersedes by $10 million. Now the question is, how did you get yourself in a position to owe her $10 million? You say, I try to figure that out every day of my life. It just happened like that. Okay? And this is how you protect your asset. Am I making this up? No. The Rockefellers did it. And they still do it to this day. And in fact, the Guggenheimers and the Guggenbergs and all those other weird names, they're doing it. They establish liens on each other and put all creditors on notice before anyone can seize this property or these bank accounts or these cars or these houses. I have to remedy this situation with this person first because this was already in writing. And when I do the paperwork for you, you get UCC filing numbers. This means any creditor that wants to take anything that's yours, all you have to do is refer them to documentation, give them the filing number, and they can clearly see someone else has a higher priority lien. Someone else has to be paid first before they can even concede getting paid. You might as well walk away from here because it's going to be a long $10 million ride. You're not getting nothing no time soon. That's how the private irrevocable trust works in essence. But you also can use this trust to purchase property with mortgage and diffuse the mortgage with the private irrevocable trust. How so? You get a purchase agreement and let people know, look, inside of 30 days, I'll buy this property that you say is $80,000 if you give me the property for cheaper. So they say, you know what? I give you the property for $65,000 if you buy it inside of 30 days. You say, good. Let me get a purchase agreement. You got the purchase agreement. Now you're going to go to your Secretary of State, file a UCC-1, and you're going to establish a lien on that property because part of the agreement is they can't sell it to nobody for that 30 days. So technically it's yours. Not technically, it actually is yours. All you got to do after that 30 days, or inside that 30 days, I should say, is pay. So now you establish a lien on it. You can't establish a lien on something unless you have a priority claim over the property. It's actually legal to establish a lien on a property so long as you have that purchase agreement, because that purchase agreement attests to the fact that you are the only one that has access to that property within the confines of that 30 days. So you establish that lien on the property, UCC-1 financing statement, we teach this in New Covenant. Then you're going to find you an insurance company. right? But not any insurance company. We let you know what insurance companies in New Covenant. And when you find that insurance company, you're going to give them that paperwork, because now you meet the criteria, because you're going to put that, once you establish that lien, you're going to assign that lien to your trust, and it now becomes an asset in your trust. It now becomes an asset. Once you establish that lien on the purchase agreement, it now becomes an asset when you assign it to your trust. Once you assign it to your trust, you go to your insurance company, and now they know that you have what? Investors. The investors are represented by the trust. Now you have all the criteria and the qualifications, and what they'll do, you mark the value of that property times 3 for any potential encumbrances and things of that nature. That's how insurance works. And you ask for a owner's protection policy. And now that you've asked for an owner's protection policy, they'll give you insurance. Let's say the property is $80,000. They'll give you insurance that is worth $240,000. What does that mean? If you have insurance for $240,000, you take out on that insurance and you pay those people inside of 30 days the $80,000 they was asking for. Now you just use your insurance, got rid of your mortgage, and now all you have is the premium from your insurance policy, which will be about $150, $200 a month. And you need insurance on your property anyway. You just got rid of the mortgage and you ain't paying no money. You just got rid of the mortgage and you didn't pay no money. And I know I'm talking fast because there's a lot of knowledge that I have to try to cram in.
It's in the book.
It's in the books. Well, that's going to be in a book called Trust Me, that I'm releasing on May 20th. That's called Trust Me. And only way you really getting that is in the New Covenant lessons right now. But the book is called Trust Me, and that's in May 20th. At the Paul Mooney lecture that I'm doing in Brooklyn, New York. However, the buy the house, sign the contract, protect the asset, the introduction to tax lead, tax deed book, and pennies off of millionaires have all that prospective interest in there. But that particular policy arrangement, prior to this, I was only talking about the tax deed to get the house with no mortgage. This is a situation where the property can have mortgage, land or a house, whatever the case may be, and you use your sovereign, irrevocable private trust, your knowledge of how to execute a UCC-1 financial statement, and how to reassign that lien as an asset in your trust. Now you meet the criteria for the insurance company. Like they have one called Gladiator. They have an insurance company called Gladiator Trust or something like that. Alright, you go to them. And what'll happen is, once you have the investors, you have to establish that lien from the purchase. It has to be a purchase agreement. Okay? And then you ask for an owner's protection policy plan. That is the plan that's going to qualify you to be able to get that line of credit extended to you in the form of insurance. And then what you're going to do is pull out on that insurance, and after it's been multiplied by about 2 or 3, you're going to use that same money from the insurance plan, and you're going to pull that out and pay off the property inside of 30 days. That's how the pros have been doing it. They haven't been spending no money, and all you wind up with is a premium that goes up to about $150, $200 a month. Prior to that, it would have only been like $80 or $90 a month, but it goes up to $150, $200. But you need insurance anyway. But the plan is this: you'll be getting a property that was worth $80,000 and $100,000, $200,000. The numbers are actually up. You're not going to be paying $150, $200 a month for premium insurance. Actually, the property has to be near $500,000 or $300,000, $350,000 for you to do that. But I'm just throwing numbers in the air so you get the idea. The thing is, at the end of the day, you might be spending $400 or $500 for a property that's 6 figures with private trust. Now, no one can't take it. No one can't take it. I say, oh, so white man can do whatever he wants to do. I understand you feel like that, and I understand sometimes he does what he wants to do to make examples to fool people. But you also got to understand that this is a corporation, and it's bad business and marketing strategy if you just start taking people's properties when they can prove that you're doing it illegally. It's bad business. They're a business, not a government, so you got to understand it's marketing first, not military first. They're business. They're a corporation. If too much of that doing things illegally comes out, it's a wrap. The problem is we don't know the law, so we never even gave it a chance to see if we knew the law, would they infringe on us. We never gave ourselves a chance. We just quit. Don't want to read, don't want to study, and say white people just do what they want to do. It's time to fight. But that's not true. They're taking advantage of us because we volunteering into these weird agreements. And meanwhile, while we're volunteering to these weird agreements, everyone else is going nuts with it. And when I keep trying to explain to people, I'm not using no one as a guinea pig. And anyone that's been around me close enough can tell you how my houses look, how my properties look. Is Rashid still here? You've been to my house before, right? One of them. How was it? Was it nice?
Real nice.
Real nice. And brother Inky's over here. He's from Georgia. I actually had him come out here to do part of the tour with me. And House of Properties.
Which one?
The one with the winding staircase. How's that one?
I like North Carolina better.
You like the North Carolina one better? I hear you. Alright, so it's not a game. It's that easy. And you know why I know it's that easy? Because according to society, you're supposed to have a degree to understand this stuff. I don't have one. So I must be an idiot, and an idiot can do it, so you can do it, according to society. Alright? And that's what this is all about, the meek, dumb, founding the wise. Leave it up to the nigga with a fit cap. Right after this, fit cap going on, pants sagging a little bit, and I'm keeping phone pods low. You know why? Because I need to be able to teach another day. Can't be walking around here looking like I know all this stuff. I gotta blend in. You know what I'm saying? Gotta blend in. So, when you establish the liens on each other, that's the part of the private trust that really codifies the means. So, you would have him as your debtor. Okay? You're the one who want to protect your assets initially. He can set up his own trust and he be the settler, and then he does the same thing. But right now, for you to codify this means, both of you need to establish liens on each other. Legal fiction. Because when you do that, that codifies his private agreement, and now no one can come in between. No one can't claim an asset outside of that, because both of y'all had made the claim that you owe me, and it's a legal contract that attests to the fact that y'all both owe each other in such a capacity. Everyone can forget about taking that stuff because y'all have first priority. Alright? So when you do that, you as a debtor, it says debtor declares it is a legal entity. I wrote this up, this is the construct. The way I have the contracts, I wrote them up already. All you have to do is fill in the names and you're good. You don't have to rack your brains and go crazy. The thing is, I need people to understand the information. I don't want people following blindly. I want you to be able to articulate what's going on so you can help someone else after you get yours. So each one can teach one. Okay, so the templates are there, but this is some of the jargon that's written there. So you don't get scary, because people be reading my paperwork and saying, yo, it seems like white people be writing that. And I'm like, nah, I'm definitely black and I'm writing it. You know, but it has that jargon and everyone attributes certain legal jargon to white folk. And it's just not true either. We got to get that out of our brains. So it says, debtor declares it is a legal entity recognized as such. So you in this particular case will be the debtor that declares it is a legal entity recognized as such and has rights and privilege recognized under the laws of the United States, as has been the case since its creation in 1983. Okay? All legal means to protect the security interest being established by this, and this would be the year that you was born. In this particular case, this is actually coming from one of my trusts. Yes. So I'm a debtor in terms of the lien that my wife established on me. This is also your original form, or conventional form I should say, of marriage contract. Because this is our form of marriage contract. This is a different type of trust. We establish liens on each other for what duration of time that we in a relationship, because this is the way you provide dowry, so you don't go into a relationship with nothing. And then when you break up the woman, she has the baby and you walk away and you get to make a baby with someone else. No, we have a contract with each other, so she knows, you know what? If we should break up, she has my books, or she has my DVDs, or she has my house and she has my land. She's in control of it. That's a willing agreement that I go into with my wife, so she knows she's not in this relationship empty, accustomed to a certain lifestyle. Then we break up and she has to raise the children. I get to go on and keep teaching and being a black teacher and leader while she over there struggling in the hood or something. Now she back in the hood. No, when we meet people, we try to go into the relationship with dowry. Okay, and the understanding is most cases and instances the child does belong with the woman, but doesn't mean the child belongs with the woman who has nothing. So in most instances, the reality is this. In our culture, the man should have something to offer to engage in a relationship. If he doesn't, then don't engage in a relationship. He has to come in with a house, or he has to come in with some land. He has to come in with some kind of gold or silver or assets. So in the event y'all sever your bond, at least you can leave and part your ways on a good financial note, so the children don't have to go into extreme poverty or live in destitution as an end result of one parent being more wealthier than the other. Okay? So this is just protection. This is what we do and culture. This is what we did to show I love you so much, I'm willing to give you this. And if things don't work out, I want you to have this so you're not poor. So even if things don't work out with your significant other, you shouldn't wish poverty on them. You shouldn't wish hardship on them. So if that's the case and that's the state of mind you in, you have no problem committing yourself and saying, look, I'm willing to give you this much acreage of my land and establish a private agreement amongst you and go to the Secretary of State, get the filing, get the apostille, okay? And after we get all these apostilles, then we do an online public registry to put it on for public record so it can be valued in any court around the world with all confirmed evidence. That's what we do. When people say, nah, man, I ain't giving that up. How do I know that she ain't going to just turn around and take my stuff once I go there? Well, if you don't know, that means you don't know her because you ain't been around her long enough. So why you in her face anyway talking that stuff? Why you trying to have sex? You need to learn her first and know her first. When you get comfortable, then you good. But if you just want to have sex, but you don't know if you should give up any property prior, that's why we keep raising children in bad situations. You need to know the people you're messing with first before you start getting engaged with them intimately. Okay, so that's the responsibility behind this, but this is part of that, actually. But anyway, all legal means to protect the security interests being established by this agreement will be used by the debtor when necessary, and all support needed by the secured party to protect her security interests, and the collateral identified herein will be provided by the debtor. So her will be my wife in that particular case, or in this particular case, I'm using y'all two as the case study, and you're the debtor, and she's the settler. In this particular case. And this is her establishing a lien on yourself and all the things that you agree to. This is the stuff that I agree to as a debtor. I'm willing to be in debt to the woman that I'm sleeping with, not to the white man. I'm not sleeping with you. There's no reason for me being in debt with you. I'm willing to be in debt to the woman that I engage in a relationship with. So this is a willing oath, this is a willing testament, this is a willing lien that I am walking into. I'm willing to surrender this property on demand or notice, because that's where I'm at as a man. Just so you know, I would never leave you out there like that. And if I should die, no one could claim right to my stuff but you. This is what we need. And we don't need to pay no one month to month to make sure ability associated with said services provided to the debtor. And until all owing and due consideration to the secured party has been delivered, regardless of whether the collateral identified in this agreement is in the possession of the debtor or the secured party, debtor warrants that secured party claim against the collateral is enforceable according to the terms and conditions expressed therein, and according to all applicable laws promulgated for the purpose of protecting the interests of a creditor against a debtor. Debtor also warrants that it holds good and marketable title to the collateral, free and clear of all actual lawful liens, and may have been privately established by agreement of the parties with full attention to the elements necessary to establish a valid contract under international contract law. Public encumbrances belonging to the debtor against the collateral shall remain secondary to this agreement. You hear that? Public encumbrances, public debts, and other forms of second mortgages, liens, and anything people. So in this agreement, if he's the debtor and she's the one just trying to protect her assets, and she's establishing a lien on him as he will establish a lien on her, look at this powerful statement. Public encumbrances, because it's a secure party creditor statement. This was filed in Maine, because they deal with non-transmitting utilities. Washington deals with it as well. Iowa and Kentucky as well. Every state doesn't deal with the transmitting utilities. We have to deal with the states that deal with the straw man, the legal fiction, transmitting utilities. So contracts that are inclusive of establishing liens on people's straw man or legal person, we have to make sure we do it in due bounds and jurisdictions that identify with this clause. If you just do a UCC 1 filing, may not work. You got to make sure you do it within the constraints of the jurisdiction that subscribes or caters to this ordinance. So in this particular case, I filed this with Maine because Maine deals with the transmitting utility. All right? But this is a powerful statement here. It says public encumbrances belonging to the debtor against the collateral shall remain secondary to this agreement. So this means that the bank says, that's my house. That's a secondary claim. Because we entered into a private agreement before you had a foreclosure, before you even pre-foreclosure, before you even sent me a notice in the mail. This agreement already existed, and I'm already in debt to her to give up this house. So now that I fell behind in payment to you, sorry, I already went into debt and used this as my collateral in an agreement with her. You understand how it's working? Wherever the first claim is made, that's the person that has to get the remedy. That's where the remedy is served or executed. Y'all understand what's going on here?
Yes, sir.
So now if you accidentally stop paying, I'm not going. If you should accidentally stop paying your mortgage, all right, after this private agreement where you had to surrender your property because you found yourself in debt to another party, who might in turn sell the property back to you for $10. I got a wild imagination, so I ain't gonna go there. I ain't gonna go there. Cause I don't want nobody saying I said it. Cause I ain't say nothing. Public encumbrances belonging to the debtor against the collateral. This collateral could be the house. Shall remain secondary to this agreement unless registered prior to the registration of secured party interest in the same collateral as is well established in international commercial law. And that's a bunch of jargon just so it sound fly. But you understand what's going on here. Whoever owes who first is the first one that got to get theirs. Point blank period. That's all that means.
How do you know which state? Like you say you follow the name?
Oh, New Covenant, we let you know every state. That's the transmit utility states. And it's in the lessons. And some of the lessons have to be committed to memory. So you can serve a purpose in volunteering your help, or even people that want to be indulge in an occupation with the New Covenant. We have people that, you know, get hired to be caseworkers and things of that nature, help people out with the mortgage foreclosures, credit discharge, private discharge, or public diffusion in terms of debt. You know, so those people who you have to take a proficiency test in order to do that, but you have to show suitable proficiency in the preceding degrees depending on the criteria for whatever it is that you're applying for in the New Covenant. So this is material that you have to be all in. You know, you have to study when you're a New Covenant. Yes, you have to study. But anyone that joins always gets a caseworker assigned to them. Anybody in here New Covenant? How many people members of New Covenant? Dang, all right. You ain't have to make it sound like a bunch of niggas is in it. You can say I am. You have to God damn, like show some class, people. God damn. All right, but raise your hand if you New Covenant. I'm gonna do the Q&A soon. All right, that's cool. That's what's up. Every state, man, it feels good. You say you New Covenant too? Hey, peace, man. What's your name?
Daryl.
Peace, brother. Okay, so you have a caseworker?
No.
You don't have a caseworker? How long you joined?
It's been about 2 months now.
2 months. Talk to Sister Riot. Do you got a membership ID number?
Nope.
Talk to Sister Riot. How many of you here New Covenant that got caseworkers? You got a caseworker? You got a caseworker? I know y'all got caseworkers. I ain't gonna ask you. How many of you New Covenant don't have a caseworker yet? Go to this sister right here. How long have you been New Covenant?
2.5 weeks.
2.5 weeks? Oh, you right there on the border. All right. But we'll make sure we expedite the process. This guy's 2 months. That can't happen. You 2 weeks. That can happen. Yes. But we'll get you a caseworker. The caseworker's job is to help you meet your investment interests, your goals, and things of that nature, based on what situation, disposition you presently stand in. And in addition to that, they help you in your evaluation of the lessons, or when you doing your paperwork. We have you out there doing the groundwork. We help you out, because we don't expect you to just really know this if you ain't never been dealing with it. However, we want you to understand what's going on, so we actually have you running. How many of you New Covenant have been running to the Secretary of State, annex copies, miscellaneous, this, that, and the third? You've been doing it as you running around? Yeah, all right. Who else is running around doing their paperwork? Are you getting progress? Oh yeah, I know y'all got it. Getting progress? Is it feeling good as you starting to see some tangible evidence and results? Because it just sounds like talk with a lot of people until you actually start getting that paperwork done. And you realize they know what you're talking about. When you're seeing all these $1 billion this and $300 million that, and you thinking we talking crazy, and then you go down to the Secretary of State and they're like, oh, okay, cool. Sign you off and seal it. Then you're like, hold on, they really do know about this? Then it's a reality check, and it's like, oh shoot, people really know? Like, I'm here thinking that this is just a little, here go that black organization stuff. Niggas make up stuff left and right, and there's no way to cross-reference it. But when you start actually doing your paperwork, you find out they know what's going on. It's just a quiet setting when you go and get your paperwork filed. So, and I'm talking about people who correcting their status. And the trust paperwork, it really helps when you correct your status to get go real far in the trust paperwork. Go to the next one. You got like 2 more slides. All right. And this right here is general provisions that you will find in the trust. Possession of collateral. Collateral or evidence of collateral may remain in possession of the debtor to be kept at the address given in this agreement by the debtor or such other places approved by a secured party, and notice of changes in location must be made to the secured party within 10 days of such relocation. Debtor agrees not to otherwise remove the collateral except as is expected in the ordinary course of business, including sale of inventory, exchange, and other acceptable reasons for removal. When in doubt, as to the legal ramifications for relocation, debtor agrees to acquire prior written authorization from the secured party. Debtor may possess all tangible personal property included in collateral and have beneficial use of all other collateral and may use it in any lawful manner not inconsistent with this agreement, except that debtor right to possession and beneficial use may also apply to collateral that is in the possession of the secured party if such possession is required by law to perfect secured party interest in such collateral. This is like a bank selling you a house. They really the owners of the house, but you're using it. That's all that is. A secured party at any time has possession of any part of the collateral, whether before or after an event of default, bankruptcy, secured party shall be deemed to have exercised reasonable care in the custody and preservation of the collateral. If secured party takes such action for that purpose as deemed appropriate by the secured party under the circumstances. And these are some of the general provisions that would be inside of your trust. This is just a little look inside of the trust to see what type of things that we accommodate for. Go to the next one. Okay, and that's our community, New Covenant. That's one of our logos. Basically what we're looking to do and what we are doing in the community is, we know the biggest problem out here, what's causing all the crime, is the lower income prices. It's the fact that it's hard to establish a good stream of equity. It's hard to find our way saving money or at least making money, because the only way you really can save money is if you're making money. You know, and if we have too much debts, if we incur too much debt as our medium to acquire assets, it stagnates us as a people. We get frustrated, we treat each other wrong, and then we start going in for get-rich schemes. We start robbing each other, stealing from each other, lying to each other. So we understand that we have to change our economical construct and disposition in order for us to transcend this poverty state, this destitution. So a big part of our curriculum, we have our own language, which you get in the second degree of the New Covenant lessons. We have our own language, we have our own scripture, we have our own lands, we're buying official headquarters. We have land in Liberia, West Africa, and we're looking to have a true designation for our headquarters being in Florida, which I'm looking to do in July. Alright, and every time I purchase property, I always ask New Covenant members that are available, come in and check me out. Watch me write all that slick stuff on the contract, know that is real. Check me out, be there, so you can have the confidence and do things with just as much as conviction. Alright, because this is not beyond nobody here. And it may sound deep and it sound heavy because it sounded deep and heavy to me. But that's because I wasn't really engaged in these kind of conversations. This is not your normal conversation in a colloquial sense. We're not going to really have this conversation much with much people about ownership, owning land, buying houses with no mortgages, investing in different types of stocks and maybe some municipal bonds and things of that nature, maybe setting up qualified retirement plans as opposed to 401ks and things of that nature. And when you compare and contrast, you see that you may need a QRP, cash and tax deferrable compensation arrangement plan, in addition to a trust fund. All right? Yes. So if anybody has any questions, first of all, how many people appreciate the information that has been taught today? All right, that's good. That's good to know. Because there was a time I oftentimes used to worry. I used to say, I know I'm going against the grain. I'm not exactly talking about reactivate your melanin. I'm not exactly scaring people about what's going to happen in 2012. I know this is not really your conventional lecture. I know normally there's no money-making lectures. There's normally just pay money to get into the lecture. You know, so that change and having to go to come in and just change and do something a little different because it's necessary, rather than just go with the flow of what everyone else is doing, it takes a lot of confidence and ego to be the one to say, you know what, I dare to talk about something completely different from what everybody is talking about, because we need the knowledge in real estate, because we all need a place to live. And so long as we all need a place to live, we need at sometimes to take the time out, consecrate some time to learn about how to stabilize our living situation and learn how to better invest our monies and materials. If there's anyone that has a question, please come up, ask your questions. If you can, just come up and ask your questions and be here. Anybody that got a question, just you can stand up over here and I'll try to run through the questions. Just make sure we address all things that we have to address. Hey, what up, God?
Peace, God. For the new covenant, how do we go about joining with the process? Cool. And also, I wanted to make a comment on the situation when you was talking about the debtor and secure party. It's basically a commercial principle of first in line, first in time. So whoever has the lien first, the first one to get paid.
That's right.
Say it again.
Whoever has the lien first is the first one.
Whoever has the lien first is the first one that gets paid. So if your wife got that $10 million lien, she gets paid first. I'm sorry.
And if y'all in cahoots, y'all get paid first. Yes. First in line, first in time. As far as new covenant is concerned, this is the Sutet Aminet Center Tumre. My first wife, I've been with her for 15 years. You go to her and you talk to her and she'll help you out with the new covenant administration. I see you missed that part. She's like, talk to me for what? What do you think? Same thing everyone talks to you for. You go to Sister Aminet and you talk to her and she'll let you know how to go about joining the new covenant and what to expect and things of that nature. Is there any other questions in there? Any other questions? Go ahead. I'm here. Ask your questions. I know you're going to come at the end of class. People do it all the time. Go ahead. If you can come up, my brother. I want to make sure I don't leave out here and don't address the questions.
Well, I was.
Hey, you got a loud voice.
Peace.
First of all, you were saying about debt, incurring debt, and when they call you on the house and harass you and everything.
Yes.
Suppose I don't get called no more. I just get letters.
Mm-hmm.
And I see different titles from different people I supposedly owe. What's the regard, the reference as far as letters, mail?
Well, first of all, there's a number of ways you could go about it, so I'll just tell you one creative way. All right? When you get those letters in the mail, first of all, you want to talk in third person when you send it back to them. All right? If it's an application, you're going to write your stuff in blue. If it's not, and it's a standard commercial presentment, you're going to write your stuff in red. You're going to cross out all that you don't really understand what they're talking about. You're going to talk in third person. You're going to write, cannot make legal determination. That's first and foremost. Cannot make legal determination. You're not going to say, I cannot. You're going to say, cannot. Because they're not talking to you. They're talking to your legal fiction. Right. So you're going to put, cannot make legal determination at this time. Okay, because that means that you just can't make sensible rationale how this applies to you in the first place. All right? Secondly, which really should be firstly, let's just do this the right way. First of all, check out what is the statute of limitations on that particular debt in the first place. Because chances are if they're sending you the mail, the debt expired or is about to expire. And you might want to do it the good old-fashioned public way, because the private way, you may not have the endurance for it. It may not be necessary to do it the private way. So a lot of people sometimes condemn me because they say, yo, why are you still giving people public remedies if your private remedies so-called work? And I say because whichever one is quicker, whichever one you can diffuse better. You know, sometimes we get caught up on the no. Sometimes we just want to show people that we know so much. Like a lot of people go to court, and when they learn this law information, they spend more time trying to teach the judge what they know than they actually spend time defending themselves. And when you look at their paperwork, they're breaking down, and 70-something, this is when this treaty of Versailles was done with Morocco and the United States, and then boom, when you come into 1920, this is what happened over here, and they're calling it memorandums of law because memorandum means it must be remembered. But even in essence, when you're serving a memorandum, it's supposed to substantiate your means or your cause. It's not supposed to be a history lesson per se. And this is the reason why they've even created something called paper terrorism, where if you don't know how to address the relevancy of the actual crisis or the problem, then they'll have you brought up on charges for paper terrorism. You'll be the Taliban of paperwork. They'll look at you and say, yo, you better make that 20 pages less thicker, man. Like, you ain't saying nothing for 20 pages. What's going on? You just got to the point for one page. Don't nobody got the time to be reading all that stuff. So the thing is, I always try to suggest to people, do it the right way. Like, there's people coming to me, yo, I got this traffic ticket. What up, Light? I'm like, look, I'm not going to give you an $850 remedy for a $35 traffic ticket. Pay the damn ticket, man. It's $35. Like, why you going to go through that? Pay the $35 ticket. So stop the craziness, man. There's things you have to work on. We can fix that later. Pay the $35. I know people personally in New York who've gone to Moorish law classes and have spent over $1,000 on tickets they should have just spent the $100 or $105 or $85 for. Man, wind up losing a joint and saying, I got them right where I want them. I'm like, no, you don't. For the second you spent more than $105 designated for that ticket, they got you where they want you. And you still feeding them. Because every time the surcharge is coming on, and every time you pay these brothers over here for the paperwork, they're charging you more than the damn ticket. And there's still no results. I'm like, we gotta get smarter than that, all right? And we have the remedy for the license stuff as well. And it's very practical, because I don't want to deal with none of that weird stuff. I want to be able to drive and not be stressed out when I show you my ID and things like that. I don't want the stress. And I don't want no more jail time. Sometimes I think the people that teaching need to go in jail for a while and experience it, because then their paperwork gets better, or they just leave the information alone. All right? So I'm like, I can tell there's a lot of people who are not used to jail based on the shit I've been reading. I'm like, people come from other communities and say, here's my paperwork. I go, yep, he's never been to jail. Because something about jail makes you say, I don't want to go back. Like, some of us are probably slow learners. I'm a very quick learner. When I went up in there, and I started doing this, I'm like, everything's going to be right. And if it sounds too belligerent, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to encourage you to do anything belligerent. I'm not going to encourage you to be a fool and go out there and try to act like you got all these balls in the courtroom and talk crazy and expect results. When, in fact, our biggest fight is no fight at all. A lot of times we just have to beseech the resolution. We have to just let people know we're not in conflict. That's all it is. We try to fight too much and defend. We don't realize we can just live in a peaceful way. That's our right. That's us by nature. We find resolution. We find resolve. We don't have to find the fight all the time. And the problem is we commit ourselves to the fight all too many times in ego, because we want to impress upon people's minds, I know what's going on here. And that's not necessary no more. Okay, so the first thing we do is go see if the debt actually expired, because if that's the case publicly, you can get rid of it like this. No need to go harassing people in the private. You get rid of it like that. But after you do that, then we got some slick stuff where you can convert the debt into equity in your trust. And that's something that you're definitely going to want to check that out. You're going to want to definitely get into that. We're going to talk about that a lot in the tome that I'm coming out with in Georgia called Lean on Me, Signature, a Sign of Nature. That's book number 69. That'll be in Georgia. Lean on Me, Signature, a Sign of Nature. And then, like I said, the trust information would be Trust Me. That's the name of that tome number 70, and that's coming out May 20th in Brooklyn, New York at the Paul Mooney event. Are there any other questions? Go ahead, my brother.
Peace, man.
Peace, peace.
I have a situation. I seen one, conscious, non-conscious. I was probably seeing last year. I seen the family and your daughters.
Yes.
I'm a single father. I'm in a relationship. I have two daughters. One's 3, one's 13. I just found out about a month ago that the 13 was actually mine. She was with another family. But DHS just stepped in and took her out of that situation, and somebody else is trying to take what's mine. I need a remedy. And when I seen this situation, I had to come.
I did.
I'm a Moor. Just know about Moorish law.
I did.
I spent that money. I ain't got no remedy yet.
I did.
Brothers know me, and a couple brothers back there, you know. I need a remedy, bro. Can you help me?
I'm not only going to help you, I'm going to help you for free, just because of what you went through with somebody else. So what you do, take my phone number from my wife, and you got my word. All right, any other questions?
One last question.
Go ahead, sister.
I just wanted to know and I'm quite sure there's a lot of people probably in this situation, what do they do if they're facing foreclosure or the sheriff is coming to town?
You come to Brother Polight. That's the easiest question I had today. Come to Brother Polight. I love freedom fighting for black people. This is where the fight is at. I be having them thinking one of their own writing that shit up. It'd be fun. It'd be great. Yeah, that's why sometimes I eat those. Like They mess with children, I eat those. I'm like, that's on the house. We love that. Because we can't have these devils taking our children. We can't. And people think it's only just paperwork. No. There's a certain essence. Aside from all the voodoo shit I be doing too. I use everything I can use. I got crystal stones, chickens be getting cut, like I be going in. You know what I'm saying? I got you. Don't worry about it. I got you. We're going to see what we can do in as real time as possible. All right? And like I said, you ain't got to pay nothing, so don't worry about it. We're going to be on it. Okay? So, but yeah, we just go hard. But it's not just, oh, the paperwork is so fly and we using it codes. People got to understand this, that the banks in America are acting as unofficial agents. Just like the policemen and all the police department and the rest of them, they're acting as unofficial agents of the Federal Reserve. Remember, the Federal Reserve gave America its charter to be a legal fiction. So this means the title codes are more punctuated than any other so-called law or statute or code that there may be. Why? Because America has a law that they have to answer to too. So what we have to do is find America in conflict with the laws they're supposed to follow. When they're acting as unofficial agents, like for instance, when they want you to do the income tax and everything like that, according to House Joint Resolution 192, the Treasurer is supposed to deal with that. That responsibility has been given over to the President, who gave it over to Congress, who gave it over to the Treasurer. Okay, so they're asking you to fulfill a fiduciary responsibility that has no business in your conceptions. You have no place in a lot of the things they ask you to do, like paying a summons or paying the debt. Okay, you owe somebody money. How can you owe somebody money in a nation that's already in debt unless they're asking you to counterfeit? That's just, and then you go to court, you ask them, Judge, do you intend for me to counterfeit? I'll do it to stay out of prison. There's ways to go about this information. I know you said, oh, that just sounds like slick nigga talk. No, this is real. Understand what I'm saying. America is a corporation, so they have corporate laws they have to follow. The people who created the laws that America has to follow, right, means that America has to follow their laws. I know I said the same thing twice. The reason why I said that is because of this. The things that they're asking you to do are in conflict with the laws that they have to follow. So when people say, why do you think they're just going to abide by your paperwork? Because when they don't, they're undermining their ruler. This is what I'm trying to explain to people. It's not America with the power. They owe somebody money. So they have to do the bidding of that entity that they owe. So if they ask you to do something that's in conflict with the entity that they owe, they will be in conflict with their entity, and they can't have that brought up under no circumstance, because they let America get away with it once, then America's going to do it twice and 3 or 4 times. Not that America hasn't been getting away with it, but if you call them up on it and say, hold on, according to the Federal Reserve, you're not supposed to be asking me to do this, they're not going to turn around and say, well, you're going to have to do it anyway, because they'll be violating the law they have to follow. And that's the part, that's the answer when people say, so what makes you think that they're going to listen to your paperwork? Because they have to, because if they don't, I'm going to tell their boss on them. And they don't want that. And their boss will like me for reporting it to them, because their boss is not cool with them. They're not cool with their boss. Their boss lied and said that America's credit score went down to AA when it still was AAA. But many of us don't even know that America has a credit score in the first place. And because we're out of the context of that conversation. S&P, Standard & Poor's, lied, said they were AA. Now America lost the integrity of its bilateral partnerships, and in turn it almost caused them to be overwhelmed by people being discouraged and investing in them, thinking that their credit score went down. It actually did go down now. They were set up. They are not friends. These devils don't like each other. So all you gotta do is call the bigger devil on the smaller devil that's bigger than you, and you win. That's what we've been doing here. So don't think, oh, this is above black people and we can't win because they all devils. Yeah, I agree, they all devils, but you gotta get the bigger devil to see the little devil. That's our problem. We've been going to little devils to see the devil that's bigger than the little devils we go to. So you go to your little civil rights leader devils, and they're not bigger than the big devil who's getting away with breaking the laws. You got to go to the devil all the way up, the higher up devil. And you're going to say, Mr. Devil, look what your baby devils are doing here. They're acting like they're bigger than you. If you don't check them, they're going to actually start thinking they're bigger than you and start telling people like us they're bigger than you. And I know your ego. You can't have niggas walk around thinking they're bigger than you, right? And that's what we have to do. Snitch. Snitch on America. When they start that BS, dry snitch, wet snitch, itchy scratch your ass for whatever reason. Do whatever you gotta do. Just tell as soon as possible. Put it on your shirts, put it all over your shirt, and say I'm telling. When you go to that court, just let them know I'm telling. Tell the judge you're telling. Do whatever you want to do, but just know I'm snitching, effective immediately. The second this court case is over, I am telling on you. And America will say, oh, hold on, you ain't gotta do that, fam. You ain't gotta do that. Put this under the table. You don't have to tell nobody. That's what we do. So don't worry about it. If you have a situation, you're ready to deal with the foreclosure stuff. First of all, one of the main remedies for the foreclosure is to ask them this. Number one question, where's the mortgage note? Number one question, because they sold it already to someone else for a profit because they couldn't endure waiting for you to pay for that note for 30 years. So the commercial banks are in the business of servicing the loans. How? They are working off a commission for international banks to turn those mortgage notes into something that can be equated with mortgage-backed securities by way of the people that are in prison and also soldiers. So what this means is this. You might pay for a $100,000 house. They may say, you know what, let's get 10 of these $100,000 people that are willing to go into debt for $100,000. That equals $1 million. Let's do that 10 more times. Okay? Now, as you keep going up, you go, let's do it another 10 times. Let's do it another 10 times. And they do this all the way up to $1 billion. So they got so many people that have $100,000 loans. And what they do, they amalgamate all this debt and create one note. And then all those loans are serviced to the international bankers. And they say, look, can we sell you all these people's debts? Because we don't have the money. We don't have the capital to sit here and wait for over 100 or 1,000 people that owe us $100,000 to actually pay us back in 30 years, because we don't got that kind of money as commercial banks. Sure, Bank of America, you work off a commission for us anyway. Okay, so you got $1 billion note here that represents 1,000 people who owe us $100,000, owe you $100,000. Okay, tell you what, we'll give you $350 million in equity for this. Bank of America says, good, yo, I'm going to find another 1,000 people for you, watch. So they doing the Mary Kay thing, and they get to drive the pink cars too. That's what they're doing. So now what happens is, the international bankers get it, and they turn around and they talk to the corporation's facility of America, and they say, look, we need sureties, and if we can get you to confirm that you can pay off these debts if they go into default, then we can get people to invest in these debts. Right now, as we speak, we can get people to invest in them, because what the international bank is going to do to make it legal is create an entity or corporation and break it up into as much as shares as it demands based on the demand for the people that want to invest. And these investors will invest so long as the nature of this bond is that people will pay for it in the event the people that's supposed to pay don't pay. This is all confusion, but this is how the system works. And then they say, no, we got mad people in prison right now working for free. Let them know, but what are you going to give me if we sell? And all that's going on is people selling the debt down the line, selling the debt, sell the debt, sell the debt. And everyone's getting a percentage of this money that hasn't even been paid yet. Everyone's getting a percentage out of money that hasn't been paid yet. It's insane. So the question is this, because we just found out something. When the commercial bank gives you a mortgage, 9.5 times out of 10, they took that note and sold it to the international bank already, because they couldn't wait the 30 years. They wanted to get the payout now, but they're told you got to get 1,000 people first. Don't come to us unless you got 1,000 people in debt at a $100,000 rate. Got you. So your note is all the way in there. Now when they say, we're going to foreclose on your property, that's what it is. Ask them in court, prove who the holder of due course is, meaning show me the note where I signed into this agreement. And you know what? 9.5 times out of 10, they don't have that note, because they sold it already and they didn't do what? Give you full disclosure, which means what? They illegally had what? A conditional interest in your property. This means some kind of disclosure wasn't given to you. They had the intent to undermine your intelligence and make you believe that you was just confiding in agreement with them exclusively, them as the creditor, you as the debtor, and all along there was another party involved. They was only selling this to you so they can sell it back to someone else. This means they had a conditional interest. So when you go to court, you're going to ask them to produce or show forth and prove who is the holder in due course, meaning show me the original note, because I know you don't got it, because I know you're in business and selling agreements to people and giving the people that you made the agreement with the pretense that you don't do stuff like that. And if we catch you out there, you're in trouble. So and that's a very simple remedy. It's a very simple remedy, but that's one of few. That's one of few remedies. And that information, you find that in the buy the house, sign the contract, protect the asset book. Because I talk about that and what to do, what to say, where to go, how to do it. The books are very, very informative. They have templates. They have put your name here, put your name there, send it out. Here's the mailing address. Put that up there, boom, online registry. Here's where your secretary and treasurer is. If I find their address and where their children go to public school, I put it in the damn book. I try to be as meticulous as possible so no more guessing takes place and you don't walk out here, yo, that shit is deep. And then when you start going through the information, you say, but we still don't know what to do. Like, what kind of information was that? You know what I'm saying? So I think like that because I have that state of mind too where I sit here and say, yo, I don't want to just feel like I understand what's going on. When I walk out the door, I still don't know what's going on.
Are you going to have your books here?
I've been there. I want to. I hope Black and Noble will start having my books here.
No, we can start this.
Let's do it, man. Straight after, we start that tonight. Yeah, and I appreciate the job and the effort that Black and Nobel is providing to the people because, I mean, the main reason we here is because literacy is on the decline. You know, and I heard they did this grassroots selling mixtapes and everything. People can always do my research to find out where I'm going and what I'm dealing with.
You got people that rolled down from Ohio in the back.
From Ohio, wow. I appreciate them, man. I appreciate that. And thanks to Black and Noble being a medium for this exchange in terms of information. We need a medium, so yeah, let's give it up for Black and Nobel. Black business, very few in our community, especially with this level of integrity. Let me get the sister here, and I'm gonna get you, brother, and we'll close out. And I'll still be here to talk to people. What's up, sis?
I'm just trying to like digest all this. And
yes.
When you were explaining like America as a corporation and how they sort of like put us to Britain as its debt settlement.
Yes.
How old is this debt and for how long does that debt last?
Well, this debt has happened several times and it has a 70-year birthday. However, let's do it like this. Let's just start from, again, March 9th, 1933. 73rd Congress, first session, session 1, chapter 1, page 83, first paragraph, third sentence. House Joint Resolution 192. House Joint Resolution 192, also known as HJR 192, March 9th, 1933. Let's start from there. That's when we were out of gold and silver. They took it from people. It's interesting because it's not, you know what it is? You ever talk to the youth and tell them, you know, slavery was not too long ago? And you talk to people my age and we'd be like, yeah, like we don't really realize not too long ago people was picking cotton. And some people not too long ago just stopped recently, still in certain places in America. And it wasn't too long ago, Martin Luther King was actually here. And actually, Martin Luther King and Malcolm X would have actually been alive today. What's also interesting is, not too long ago, money actually had a value. And you actually was able to turn it in and get gold and silver back in return for it. You actually was able to go to the bank and get something in exchange. Not too long ago. All right? So, the problem with that... Thanks, man. Yes.
Thank you.
The problem... Yeah, nothing, man. You already know. All right? So, yes, sir. So, the problem with that is... This didn't happen not so long ago. Let's say it started in 1933. But we have another instance where America had to incorporate in 1787. You had what they called the Continental Congress. Then you had the Articles of Confederation. Then you had the United States Constitution. Where the problem was they created a national government, right? And this national government wasn't supposed to be sovereign. The states are supposed to be sovereign because the states was comprised of the people. And the people had sovereignty. The national government was supposed to just be a service to the people and handle some of their fiscal situations. And what happens is the national government was pissed off because they were like, look, they were asking the states to donate towards them to resolve certain debt issues and things of that nature. They wanted more power, they couldn't get it. So the national government, the people that made up the national government started talking to the bankers, and they started understanding that the bankers were willing to give them loans to get the states out of debt, but the states couldn't agree on how much debt how much money they was willing to loan the federal government so they could remedy some of these debt issues that they had after the war. Now what happens is the states ultimately went into debt. Okay, we talking 1700s here. The states ultimately went into debt. And the only thing they could conceive after a while with the banks talking to their national governments to come out with a centralized banking system eventually. They call this, they call it bus 1, bus 2, things of that nature. But it's centralized bank of America, okay? And this bank was supposed to be a bank that helped serve as an independent commission to help regulate all the other commercial banks of America. But in actuality, they had a conditional interest of their own. And they ultimately wanted to bankrupt the people and the states so they can gain access and control because they was being manipulated and dialogue or deliberations with the bankers. Okay, the people that's supposed to represent the states and the bankers were going into dialogue. And these deliberations eventually became more maliciously geared towards tricking members of the state and ultimately the community at large. So anyway, the states wind up being in debt, overwhelming debt. And the only thing they could conceive when they ran out of gold and silver was to pledge the labor of the people, the exertion of their energy. The best thing they can offer is, well, you know what, we got workers, citizens. In fact, they actually created a new status, 14th Amendment citizen. They created citizens, all right? And these citizens now will be in a state of voluntary servitude, which is a status. Like you learn in Amendment 13 and Amendment 14, they talk about involuntary servitude not being permitted unless duly convicted of a crime. Then in the 14th Amendment, you learn that they came up with a whole new status, which is many people identify as the 14th Amendment citizenship, because in ancient times, the serfs were people that were given privileges if they submitted to the Lord or to the ruling powers or the prevalent powers of the land as the Lord or the king. And if you were willing to bow down and acknowledge the king of that time as your God and your leader, in that they would allow you the privilege to compete with other sovereign beings to that land or indigenous people of that land in terms of trying to get a job and things of that nature. The same thing is going on today. Okay? So being a citizen comes with privileges and grants you inalienable rights. Being sovereign alludes to the reality that you have God-given rights. Right to speak, right to travel. When you get a license, that's as if you're conducting commerce because you need a license to vend food, to sell food. So why you have a driver's license? You're not trying to sell no products. So why you have one? You're not selling grape juice and driving from one state to the next, or cigarettes, Newports. Well, some of us are, but you know what I'm saying? Like, some of us going down Summer buys Lucy's. But the point is, you're not, when you get a driver's license, it's as though you bought it under the pretense that you're going to be importing and exporting goods. Why would you need a license to do that? All right? So we really have the God-given right to travel, which is an unalienable right. And citizens have privileges, not rights. Privileges that come from the state, and they're inalienable. And what happened is when the states went into debt, they pledged the potential work ethic of the people, because it's the only thing close to wealth that they had left. And the bankers said, you know what? That's a good idea. Slaves. Voluntary slavery. But you have to get these people to confide in your citizenship first. And if they confide in your citizenship, then we can generate a security, which is a paper certificate that attests to the credit of your ownership in their equity. All right? And this will be called the birth certificate, and we'll be able to catalog, okay, these citizens by way of the QSIP, which will be our way to identify all these different types of securities that'll be circulating, because inevitably these people will keep reproducing. All right? And so a collateral was established to secure the agreement, thus turning the United States in America into the United States of America security agreement. The Constitution is a security instrument. It means that collateral was established to punctuate the themes in a commercial agreement. The United States used to be the United States, okay, the United States in America, all lowercase. 1787, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17 of the United States Constitution. The United States became the United States of America in all caps. Prior, it was the United States in America, lowercase. When they went into debt, they got rid of the Articles of Confederation, and they created a security instrument or a commercial agreement called the Constitution, in which case they incorporated in light of the fact that they were in debt. and they pledged the labor of the people, not giving the people full disclosure of what was actually transpiring. They never believed that if they told the people in confidence they were in debt, and could we use your labor as a form of collateral to pay back our debt, some people would have said yeah. Under the right conditions, I say yeah. Not a problem. But they didn't have trust in the people. They wanted to make sure they get everyone's yes, without them knowing at all. And that's where we wind up into the situation today. So you could take it back as far as 1787, or you could more especially identify it when it gets real intense in 1933. Or you can even go back to 1913 for the Federal Reserve, when that came in. So there's different eras where this thing gets real intense. So you go to 1787, 1913, 1933. Those are real pinnacle dates, you know, in this American history that they ain't gonna teach us about. What's up, my brother? You got a question?
When the next time you gonna come back and drop some more of this?
That's one of the first things I'm gonna do before I leave. Find out when's the next time I can get back out here. I'm going on tour, but I'll be back at the end of May. So I would love to be here. Like, I gotta get up here, man. I don't know. I gotta get here. Hopefully on a Saturday. I would have to do it on a Saturday because I gotta go to Indiana May 28th. But
so we know it'll be soon though.
I hope May 27th. I hope. I really want to do it, man. I love this. Go ahead, sister. I'm with it.
There's something that I could never understand, never get an answer to, and that is that when you're talking about taxes, why is it that people who work for a governmental agency can't do these things? Do people have a contract?
Well,
they don't know about?
It's not that people can't do these things. That for people that work for governmental agencies, there's some incapacities that they don't have because, like they say in the scriptures, you can't serve two masters where you should love one or hate the other. Just denoting the fact that there be some kind of conflict of interest. You could do everything that I was talking about thus far, but one thing that you will take on a unique presentation is when you do an active state, because an active state diffuses all attempted expatriations in light of the fact that you're living in a form of state of sedition. Sedition being that there's a level of hostility that you have, having been brought to awareness of full cognition of all the incongruous acts that are transpiring and all the implications that come with citizenship. So you're saying, you know what, I am denouncing it in certain capacities, but not that I have a beef or conflict with you, nor do I want you to feel like you have the right to have me held in exile, kick me off the land when I'm native to the land, all because I disagree with things that you're doing that's illegal or contradictory to the very claims that you make in your own constitution. The problem is when you work for the government and you're saying these very things about the government, it contradicts itself. So what we do, we create a conditional notice that is pending, and under the color of law, it's more immaculately sound and less belligerent, less hostile. So that way, you can continue working until you can eventually relieve yourself from their auspice. Because we don't want you talking crazy talk, and you work for the government, you talking slick to the government at the same time. That, you know, we don't want you to lose your job in the process of what you're doing. So that's the only time that I have a unique form for people, and that's in terms of when they conducting the active state. The active state doctrine takes on that kind of connotation. Outside of that, all the other information is open ground for people that work for the government in terms of what we're doing in the New Continent. We just want to take into consideration your living disposition, your fact that you have a family and people love you, and we don't want to complicate your present living disposition. Yes, my brother, you got a question?
Yeah, for the contract that you want to have with your spouse,
yes.
And if you already currently have like that marriage license, how do you?
We go over that in Finance or Fiance and something else. Finance or Fiance. We have a tome over here called Finance or Fiance, pardon me, baby. And Rich Mom, Poor Mom, Spiritual Business. This one right here goes into the contracting with your wife or significant other, husband, wife, husband. Okay, Finance Fiance, we go into how to generate that contract, and then of course with the assistance of New Covenant, we'll probably tell you the address where you got to go down here and get the paperwork filed. And it's real simple stuff, but it's just your obligation, your oath to each other. And you want to diffuse that because again, your marriage certificate has a Q-tip on it. It means they're making a profit off of your marriage, and they're not giving you none of the money they're making the profit off of. That's the problem. They're making money from your agreement. Okay, and if anyone's gonna make money because of an arrangement that I make, it should be me or the person that I made the agreement with. That's the common sense understanding of this stuff. So when we don't get compensated and someone else is getting compensated, someone else is getting the tax benefits of my agreement or my arrangement, then you sucking me into making this commitment to my wife so you can make money, and I ain't with that. That's just completely wrong. All right? And you want to diffuse that, but you still want to keep your obligations there so you can be held accountable as a man and she can be held accountable as a woman. The contract law is our birthright. That's what we do as a people. It's what solidifies our word. It keeps our word bond. If you don't have that paperwork, then people said that I said then, and then later on they say, I don't remember saying that, or I ain't say it that way, and then it's subject to people's interpretation. You already know where that takes us. So we need that contract, inevitably. Any other questions? All right. So I want to thank y'all. Did my best. I appreciate it. I'm still here. Thank you so much for the love, the care, and the attention.
Right off the Barnary sub-stop, Philadelphia, PA. Shot so loud you would think it was a club spot. African Americans, although we all over the web, we the hood librarians. We ship to prisons too. We reach out and deliver to those that's bitten too, but it's more than a bookstore. You wonder we got it, mixtapes, DVDs, and culture products. Black and Nobel got our hands in a lot of projects. We welcome all to come build, the energy is positive. And remember other teams, is awakened conscious. Come through and experience this place of knowledge. They say they'll put it in a book if they wanna hide it from us, but we got them books so you can buy it from us. Something to read while you on a train or riding the bus. Get your read on, food for thought, get your eat on. Black and Nobel, I buy my books at Black and Nobel. Black and Nobel, I buy my books at Black and Nobel. Black and Nobel, I buy my books at Black and Nobel. Black and Nobel, I buy my books at Black and Nobel. Right off the Barnary sub-stop, Philadelphia, PA. Shot so loud you would think it was a club spot. African Americans, although we all over the web, we the hood librarians. We ship to prisons too. We reach out and deliver to those that's bitten too, but it's more than a bookstore. You wonder we got it, mixtapes, DVDs, and culture products. Black and Nobel got our hands in a lot of projects. We welcome all to come build, the energy is positive. And remember other teams, is awakened conscious. Come through and experience this place of knowledge. They say they'll put it in a book if they wanna hide it from us, but we got them books so you can buy it from us. Something to read while you on a train or riding the bus. Get your read on, food for thought, get your eat on. Black and Nobel,